Chapter 960. The Moment I Met You. Chapter 960. The moment I met you, the places Emo needed to search were fewer and fewer, but this just made him more worried. He had searched 90% of the area, but there were still no signs of Su Jingwen. A woman wearing rags stumbled across the street Emo was at. She noticed Emo standing in the center of the street, cloaked in snow, and had a sudden resonance in her heart. Was this person standing in the snow like her due to something he didn't want to let go? She knew that once the snow fell, the frigid winter had arrived. Her days of roaming outside would be over. If she couldn't find a good place to go, then she would have to prepare for death. She wanted to roam around in the snow and think about her days in Ninghai. Think about how she went from Ninghai to Luoyu City for him. From Luoyu to that small world, and then from the small world to this living hell. After reminiscing those days, she would leave Jiangchuan City and find a peaceful place in the wilderness to settle and leave this world peacefully. Perhaps in her next life, she would find a place where she truly belonged. Perhaps in her next life, she would find love in someone who also loved her back. Her only pity was that her bracelet had been stolen. If only she could leave the world with the bracelet still on her. She had no regrets. Sometimes, people needed to pursue what they wanted in life, and she wasn't a woman who could settle for anything. She just wondered if her mother was all right, if Yimo, Wanqing, and Sister Yuhua were fine. She wondered if he was fine. Perhaps no one would ever know that her final destination had been a place like this, a world like this. She walked past Yimo, who was standing still. When she was only a few meters away, her heart suddenly ached. She turned around and looked at the man who stood still in the middle of the street. The bracelet he was holding in his hands. She was dazed. After a long while, she moved her eyes from the bracelet to Yimo's face. Although Yimo's eyes were closed and there was a layer of snow on his hair and brows, she was still shook. An unexplainable feeling gushed out from the depth of her heart. Am I dead? Am I hallucinating? Is this person really him? Why is it so real? She didn't wipe her eyes. She didn't dare move. She was scared that this figure would disappear, and she would wake up from her hallucination to realize she was still by herself in that endless strange world. Tears flowed down her eyes, finally letting go countless hardships. She had never teared up, but at that moment she couldn't control her tears anymore. In her loneliest and most helpless moments, she hadn't considered crying even though she had been about to die. But seeing this person before her, she could no longer bear the feeling of helplessness, loneliness, and grief in her heart. She wanted to cry. However, this was even more of a reason not to move. She would rather die slowly like this than make the hallucination before her eyes disappear. She didn't dare say a word. When I first met you, I was walking down the busy streets of my hometown, the hustling crowd around us. You were alone in a corner of the street selling charms. At that time, you weren't a part of world yet, but you saved my mother. When I met you for the last time, I was walking on the streets of a foreign place. Flying snowflakes around us. You stand alone in the middle of the street waiting for the snow. At that moment, you were only the hallucination of my mind. You allow me to leave without any regrets. The snow had also covered her body, but she didn't move nor blink. She wasn't going to let the person before her disappear even if it was just an illusion. Yimo's heart sunk. He hadn't let anyone pass his spirit sense. He had fully committed his mind to searching. Even if someone had tried to attack him, he wouldn't have noticed. He probably had never been so focused on doing something. However, he had been searching nearby and hadn't found Su Jingwen at all. Yimo sighed. He was prepared to take back his spirit sense and leave when he saw someone standing a few meters from him, not moving. How far does someone have to search? Sometimes you search around everywhere, but you can't see that what you're looking for is right in front of your eyes. Jingwen. Yimo immediately realized that the person in front of him was Su Jingwen. He had been looking for her, but she had found him first. Since she had found him, why wasn't she talking? Why was she just standing there? Su Jingwen had a faint smile on her face. 2 rows of tears were frozen on her face. She didn't have Yimo's cultivation essence power. Her body was weak to begin with. If she hadn't had that faith holding her, she would have fallen down already. Yimo's spirit sense immediately noticed that Su Jingwen was on the brink of death. He was shook. He quickly grabbed her, and took her to his hotel. Emo took off her disguise, unveiling that pretty and familiar face of hers. With Emo's power and Pill King prowess, it wasn't hard for him to heal Su Jingwen. Yet, what disappointed Emo was that no matter what he did, Su Jingwen simply had a smile on her face and looked at him. If he disappeared from her sight, she would tear up. Emo was sad. He hadn't thought Su Jingwen had such feelings for him. In the depth of his heart, he felt guilty. He had thought of many people, but he had been worried about Su Jingwen due to Emo. He remembered when Su Jingwen invited him to dinner. The first dance of his life had been with Su Jingwen. No matter what, I will cure her. Emo made up his mind. He started to remove her clothes and shower her. Emo was just going to stay in this city for a day, but because of Su Jingwen, he stayed for 3 days. On the 4th day, he took her to the most famous doctor there. He was a cultivator, so he never had thought he would need a mortal doctor. Even though he was powerful and a pill king, he didn't know what was wrong with Su Jingwen. He had refined Su Jingwen's marrow for her and even cured her old sickness, but she was still like this. Emo had taken her to many clinics, but none of them could even tell what was wrong with her. However, at least he knew that one person might know what was wrong with her. That man was Dr. King's son Ho-chang. It was said that he was not only a Dr. King, but also an immortal master. He lived on the Minhe mountain thousands of kilometers from there. Emo immediately headed towards this place. Yet, Emo could only hold Su Jingwen in his arms. He couldn't carry her on his back as she would start crying as soon as she couldn't see him. After getting there, Emo immediately realized that Sun Ho-chang was just an ordinary solo cultivator, and one who wasn't so powerful. Spirit Chi was scarce there too. Seeing this, Emo was greatly disappointed. Sun Ho-chang was worse than him, and he was perhaps this famous only due to his status as a cultivator. But regardless, he had to check if this Sun Ho-chang actually had skills. Emo didn't know if Sun Ho-chang had the skills, but he certainly thought highly of himself. Emo was stopped outside the formation. 2 Chi-gathering female disciples said that their master was outside, and he hadn't come back yet. As soon as they said this, 2 men came out. One had a beard up to his chest and seemed like an immortal. The other was an ordinary-looking man. Yet, Emo realized that these 2 cultivators were at Golden Core State Level 7. "Brother Sun, I'll rely on you for this matter," the ordinary-looking man said. Emo immediately could tell that the bearded man was Sun Ho-chang. Sun Ho-chang laughed. "Dao friendly, don't worry, I will do my best. In 1 month, you will receive good news." Chapter 961. Obsession. Chapter 961. Obsession. This looks like a case of the will overexertion syndrome. What a woman of strong obsession. It was the ordinary-looking man who said this. Emo heard this like immortal music and quickly went up and saluted with his fists. "Dao friend, do you know the cause for her illness?" The ordinary-looking man was much stronger than Emo, but seemed very amicable, and he nodded. "I know the cause of her illness because I've seen it before. You're probably here for pills from Pillmaster Sun, right? But you're probably going to be disappointed." Sun Ho-chang glanced coldly at Emo and Su Jingwen and didn't say anything. Emo was very unhappy with this Sun Ho-chang. He was just an ordinary pill concoctor. Was this act necessary? Did he think he was a pill king? But since this ordinary-looking man recognized Su Jingwen's condition, Emo couldn't underestimate Sun Ho-chang. Moreover, he had come to ask for help, so he saluted with his fists. "Pillmaster Sun, may I ask dash?" Before Emo could finish, Sun Ho-chang waved his hand and said, "No need to ask, I can't cure this. This is the first time I've heard of such a condition." Then, he ignored Emo and saluted with his fists to the ordinary-looking man. "Brotherly, I'll be going." Then, he went back inside and shut the formation. The person he called Brotherly showed his hands to Emo and said, "He's such a strange-tempered man, but he's a level 6 spirit pill master. I came to him for pills, but I think he really doesn't know about such a disease. I've only heard about it here and there as well." Emo wasn't going to let this opportunity to gain information pass, and he saluted with his fists and said, "Dao friend please, do you know how to cure this will overexertion syndrome?" The cultivator shook his head. "The reason why I even know about it is because 70 years ago, I went with an elder to visit a Qianbei. He had seen this sort of patient before. That Qianbei said that this condition was caused by an obsessive will that surpassed the patient's love for life. If the patient can't be awakened on the mental level, he or she will be incurable otherwise. What did that Qianbei say in the end? Yimo asked desperately. Seeing Yimo was so desperate, the cultivator coldly replied with sympathy that Qianbei couldn't cure it either. He just said that you need to understand the patient's obsession and then wake the patient up with mental and soul-type pills. But the soul-type pills are very precious as though not wanting to see Yimo lose hope. Lee added, even spirit sense repairing pills are very expensive. I heard that in the last pill concoction hall of fame tournament, one pill master used spirit attraction grass to create the spirit weaving pill. Perhaps you can go find him and see? Yimo was dazed. That person was him. If he had a way to cure this, why would he ask some level 6 spirit pill master? Seeing Yimo flustered, the cultivator continued. That Qianbei did say that there's a herb called Dulan Chun Xiao. If you use this herb in a pill, it could perhaps wake up the patient. If the number 1 Hall of Fame pill master would be willing to help, perhaps this pill could really be made. Yimo suddenly realized his thinking had really been clouded because of being personally involved. Wasn't he a pill king level master? Yet in his desperation, he couldn't think of that much. He didn't even come up with the diagnosis that Su Jingwen was just in a state of too much obsession. He knew the Dulan Chun Xiao. It was a type of level 3 spirit herb. It did have great potency for curing spirit and mental type conditions, and perhaps he could really use this herb to make a pill and test it out. Not to mention, he knew that Su Jingwen's obsession might be related to him. The only difficulty now would be to find the Dulan Chun Xiao. It was just a level 3 spirit herb, but it was very rare. As rare as level 5 spirit herbs. The herb wasn't as difficult to make a pill with as the spirit attraction grass, but it was still very hard. But since he could put the spirit attraction grass into a pill, why couldn't he do the same to Dulan Chun Xiao? Thinking about this, Yimo felt relieved. Even if he couldn't make the Dulan Chun Xiao into a pill, he still had the spirit recovery pill. That was a heaven-grade level 3 pill, the best pill for recovering injuries to the soul. Even if he couldn't cure Su Jingwen, he could make her better. Yimo immediately put a spirit recovery pill in her mouth. It melted immediately, and Su Jingwen's eyes shut. After a while, she fell into sleep. Yimo rejoiced. Su Jingwen hadn't slept for a few days, and that's what worried him the most. If he hadn't refined her marrow for her, she really might not have lasted this long. Now that she was asleep, even if she didn't recover, it would allow him enough time to look for the herb. Seeing the possibility of curing her, Yimo rejoiced. He was very thankful to this cultivator, and he said, "Brotherly thank you. I was enlightened thanks to you." The cultivator looked at Su Jingwen in shock. I heard that Qianbei say that patients with this condition can't fall asleep. How did you make her fall asleep? This man had helped him a lot, so Yimo didn't want to lie to him. That was actually a spirit recovery pill I obtained by chance. What? The cultivator was shook. Are you talking about the heaven-grade level 3 spirit recovery pill? He didn't know how the spirit recovery pill was made, but he knew it was a heaven-grade level 3 pill. It was worth a fortune, and yet this cultivator just gave one to the woman in his arms. How wealthy was he? Yimo didn't want to talk much about it. Brotherly, I'm going to find the Dulan Chun Xiao. Farewell. Yimo wanted to tell the man his name, but since he was being hunted by so many people, he couldn't. The Li cultivator realized Yimo didn't want to talk about the spirit recovery pill, so he didn't ask and said, "If you want to find the Dulan Chun Xiao, I know a place that will have it in 4 days. Where would that be?" Yimo asked. In 4 days in Shuagan City, there will be a small-scale golden core state gathering. I heard that someone will be bringing the Dulan Chun Xiao there. I'm going there too. If you want to go, you can come with me, he said. This was too coincidental. Yet as Yimo studied this Li cultivator, he could see that his tone was genuine, and Yimo didn't feel there was anything wrong with him. He nodded. Thank you then, brotherly. My name is Imoing. I'm a solo cultivator. What pill are you asking Sun Hochang to make that it will take a month? The cultivator smiled. I'm Li Jingwen. I am similarly a solo cultivator. I got 2 pieces of blue wind grass, and so I wanted to ask Pill Master Sun to concoct some blue wind pills. This Li Jingwen had helped him, so Yimo couldn't let him be scammed. Thinking about this, Yimo said, "Brotherly, I'm not saying what you did was wrong, but the blue wind pill isn't something a level 6 spirit pill master can concoct. It requires at least a level 7 spirit pill master. As for special grade ones, only pill kings can make them." Li Jingwen smiled bitterly. "Of course I know that, but out of all the pill masters I know, Pillmaster Sun is the highest level. I wouldn't be able to afford level 7 or above spirit pill masters." Sigh. Yimo immediately understood the hardship of Li Jingwen. Yimo was a pill king, so he didn't experience the pain of ordinary cultivators. He thought for a moment and said, "Brotherly, if I'm not wrong, Li Jingwen shouldn't be able to make it. He's lying to you saying that it takes 1 month to make 2. I've made the blue wind pill before, and even a bad level 7 spirit pill master wouldn't need a day." Are you a level 7 spirit pill master?" Li Jingwen was shocked. Chapter 962. Golden Core State Gathering. Chapter 962. Golden Core State Gathering. That's right. I'm a level 7 spirit pill master. If you're willing to trust me, I can concoct the blue wind pill for you. I'm sure that Sun Hochang is tricking you. Whether or not he has the ability to concoct it is questionable, but just based on how he says it will be done in a month, it doesn't sound trustworthy. Yimo really didn't like this Sun Hochang, but he had a good impression of Li Jingwen. Yimo thought Li Jingwen would be rather careful about letting him concoct the pill for him, as after all, the blue hen herb was precious. But what he didn't expect was that Li Jingwen only hesitate for a moment before saying, "Brother Imo, I trust you. I believe you're a level 7 spirit pill master." Yimo was surprised. He didn't think Li Jingwen would be that honest. It's good Yimo wasn't planning on tricking him. Li Jingwen said, "If you can give this woman a heaven-grade level 3 spirit recovery pill, it means you're someone who values the more important things in life. I don't believe someone like that is a liar." Yimo knew what Li Jingwen meant. In the cultivation realm, even a husband and wife might not give each other a heaven-grade level 3 pill. Sun Hochang was very happy today. He just got 2 blue wind herbs, although he couldn't make it yet. Once he became a level 7 spirit pill master, he would. The blue wind pills made from these 2 herbs would be enough to support him up to the golden core state peak stage. As for Li Jingwen, he would find some excuse and compensate him with a bit of spirit stones. But before he could finish enjoying his mood, his 2 female disciples reported that Li Jingwen was outside. He felt strange. Why had Li Jingwen come back right after he'd just left? In any case, Sun Hochang kept his 2 blue wind herbs and went. He couldn't just avoid him after all. Thinking about this, Sun Hochang left and came up to Li Jingwen with a serious face. "Brotherly, did you forget about something?" Li Jingwen said with awkwardness, "Pillmaster Sun, could you give back my 2 blue wind herbs for now? I would like to ask for your help in 4 days instead." Sun Hochang was shook and quickly asked, "Why?" "I was studying the herbs right now. If I get them 4 days later, it will delay the time you get the pills." Li Jingwen shook his head. "I know, but I have no choice. I want to see if I can trade the herbs for some blue wind pills during the gathering in 4 days in Shuagan City. If not, then I'll come back to ask for your help. Please understand." Sun Hochang heard this and looked at him in shock. "You want to trade blue wind herbs for blue wind pills? You know that's impossible." Li Jingwen sighed. "I know it's very hard, but how can I be sure it won't work if I don't try? If I don't try, I can't put my heart at ease." Sun Hochang looked at Yimo. Li Jingwen was someone very easy to talk to, so why did he change his mind so quickly? Clearly this had something to do with Yimo, but he was sure that even if someone had blue wind pills at the gathering, they wouldn't trade it for blue wind herbs. But the blue wind herbs belonged to Li Jingwen, and he had only just given them to him. He couldn't even find an excuse not to give it back. If Li Jingwen came back the next day, he could say that he had already started making it. But Li Jingwen hadn't even left for 10 minutes. Not to mention that Li Jingwen was no weaker than him. If they fought, he might not be a match for him. Sun Hochang felt very unhappy. Even though he was sure that Li Jingwen wouldn't be able to trade his herbs for the blue wind pill, he would still feel more secure if he kept the blue wind herb on himself. "Pillmaster Sun?" Li Jingwen reminded Sun Hochang of his presence, seeing he wasn't talking. Okay. Since Brother Li wants to try, I agree, of course. Sun Chochang took out the 2 jade boxes in the end. After Li Jingwen confirmed that the boxes contained his blue one herbs, he nodded and said to Sun Hochang, "Thank you, Pillmaster Sun. I'll be leaving now. Brother Imo, let's go together." Sun Hochang looked at Imo and said, "Friend, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to my place. I can help you look at this patient." How could Imo not know what Sun Hochang was planning? He didn't want to let go of the blue one herb and hated him for seemingly meddling. Or perhaps he called him in so that Li Jingwen would follow as well. This way, he could take revenge against him and get the blue one herb from Li Jingwen at the same time. But Imo had no time to bullsh tea with this random person. Even if he could save Jingwen, he wasn't going to beg Sun Hochang. So Imo ignored Sun Hochang and said to Li Jingwen, "Well, let's go then." Then, he released a simple flying sword and left the place with Li Jingwen quickly. Seeing the two leave like that, Sun Hochang's face turned green. "Insolent brat. How dare you ruin my plans and act so cocky? In 4 days, you will be dying at Shuagan City." After Li Jingwen left the mountain, he immediately stopped and gave the blue one herbs to Imo. He didn't ask Imo to give him anything in return as insurance or anything, and just left Imo to concoct the pills. He simply arranged to meet up with Imo 4 days later in Shuagan City and left. Seeing him leave, Imo sighed. Li Jingwen was nice and trusted people easily, but he wasn't really an idiot. Or else, he wouldn't use the excuse of trying to trade his herbs at the gathering to ask for his herbs back. No one who had cultivated to the Golden Core State tertiary stage was dumb. Li Jingwen's character was just much better than ordinary cultivators. But once it involved his interests, Imo believed this man would surely have a way to retaliate. Although Sun Hochang took back his herbs easily, if Imo couldn't provide him the blue one pills at the latest a month later, he wouldn't end well. The reason why he trusted Imo was because he gave a spirit recovery pill to Su Jingwen and didn't even care. Compared to the spirit recovery pill, the blue one pill was nothing. That night, Imo arrived at Ganshua City. It was tens of thousands of kilometers from Jiangchuan, but Imo finally found out why the cities around there were so arid in spirit chi. There was a level 6 spirit gathering formation here. This high-level formation required supreme means and top-quality materials. With such a powerful spirit gathering formation around, of course the spirit chi from the area would get sucked over. The spirit chi here, however, was almost as good as in Broken Leaf City. But without a spirit range, Ganshua City would become like Jiangchuan City eventually. Imo found a hotel to settle down Su Jingwen before starting to concoct the blue one pill. Li Jingwen had only given the 2 blue one herbs to Imo. He didn't provide any supplementary herbs. But Imo didn't really mind. Li Jingwen had helped him. Furthermore, Imo had too many blue one herbs and more than 100 blue one pills. The herbs he got weren't very aged, but he still made 12 blue one pills in 2 tries. They were all special grade pills. Imo put them into bottle and started organizing his loot. He had obtained multiple golden core state storage rings from the all-herb mountain ranges, but there wasn't anything really good inside. Fate Zhejiang's storage ring had a level 7 water mobility rune and the stone stool. It was exactly the same as the one he got from Tianze. The 2 stools resonated with each other. Imo didn't know how Fate Zhejiang could have the stone stool, but he knew it wasn't ordinary. Tianze was no ordinary old man. Imo put them inside the golden page world and started counting his spirit stones. He had more than 7 million top-grade spirit stones, more than 5 million middle-grade spirit stones, and more than 4 million low-grade spirit stones. 3 days passed by quickly, and Imo didn't go anywhere. He was studying the Tianhua pill. As for Su Jingwen, she was sleeping most of the time. When Imo carried Su Jingwen on his back to the location of the gathering, Miaoxiang Tower, Li Jingwen was already waiting for him. Chapter 963. I'll take it. Chapter 963. I'll take it. Li Jingwen saw Imo look over and put on a joyous face, but Imo could see a sliver of unease in his eyes. Clearly, although he gave the 2 herbs to Imo quickly, he still had some worry in the depth of his heart. After all, he had only seen Imo once. Despite Li Jingwen not asking him about it, Imo still gave him a jade bottle and said, "The pill's ready, have a look. Li Jingwen heard this and his hands shook. He really couldn't find a level 7 spirit pill master anywhere and thus took this gamble. He didn't think he would really get a bottle of blue wind pill. Even though he was golden core state level 7, he still couldn't control his excitement. He carefully took the jade bottle and opened it. Inside were 12 special grade blue wind pills. This? Li Jingwen felt dazed for a moment and reacted. I don't need that much. The supplementary herbs were supplied by you. You only need to give me 4 or 5. Although Li Jingwen knew Yemo might be a level 7 spirit pill master, he didn't have much hope. But clearly, he trusted Yemo more than Sun Haocheng. Even so, he would be very happy if he got 2 pills back. Yemo waved his hand. You trusted me to concoct pills for you. Plus, you've helped me as well. Although the blue wind pills are precious, I don't really care. Yemo knew that Li Jingwen probably could tell he wasn't poor, so he didn't need to act poor. Li Jingwen thought for a moment and knew Yemo was telling the truth. He said gratefully, in that case, I'll be taking advantage of you this time. If you need me in the future, I will help for sure. Yemo's impression of Li Jingwen was getting better and better. He intentionally said those things, but Li Jingwen didn't seem like he intended to rob him at all. Many people would think of ways to rob another cultivator who was weaker than them but had more valuables. Li Jingwen's eyes didn't even flutter after learning Yemo was wealthy. He was truly an honest person. Wait, this is special grade. Li Jingwen thought of something and opened the bottle again. He looked at Yemo in shock. You're a pill. Li Jingwen realized he was at least a level 1 pill king. Yemo knew Li Jingwen was going to say pill king, but he waved his hand and stopped him. You just need to know yourself brotherly. If you need help in the future, just ask me. Li Jingwen was shook. He didn't think that a random person he met would turn out to be a pill king, and such a young one at that. He could also concoct the spirit recovery pill. Didn't this mean that he was at least a level 3 pill king? Such a young level 3 pill king? Li Jingwen suddenly realized that this person wasn't Emoing. He was Yemo, the number 1 of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Who else could he be? You're from the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Li Jingwen realized and started to voice this thought. How could Yemo let him? He quickly cut him off by interjecting, Yes, brotherly. Sorry for hiding this from you before. I had no choice. Li Jingwen heard this and knew his guess was correct, his eyes reflecting more surprise and joy. It was like a heavenly gift for him to know a pill king. As they spoke, a few more golden core state cultivators arrived. One of them knew Li Jingwen and greeted him. Li Jingwen was originally planning to help Yemo get the Dulan Chun Shao no matter what, but since he knew Yemo was the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame number 1, he knew why Yemo was so wealthy. He wouldn't need his help. Miaoxiang Tower was a brothel. The female cultivators here were all experienced in the art of dual cultivation. But today, the Golden Core State cultivators weren't here for the girls, they were here for the social. So excepting a few, the cultivators didn't need female company. Yemo carried a woman on his back, so no female cultivator went up to solicit him. Brotherly, you're here earlier than me, Sun Hocheng said. Li Jingwen had already got his blue wind pill and would have left if he wasn't here to accompany Yemo, so he just casually replied to Sun Hocheng's words. Sun Hocheng's face was unsightly. He scanned Yemo coldly and made up his mind that no matter what this person wanted he would buy it first, and he wouldn't mind killing this cultivator if he got the chance. As for the beautiful woman on his back, if she could recover, she could become a female disciple to serve him. If not, he would just kill her as well. The social was held in a bright and clean hall. When Yemo and Li Jingwen entered, there were already 40 people present. Yemo sat in one corner with Su Jingwen. Li Jingwen sat not far from Yemo. Sun Hocheng intentionally sat opposite to Yemo. In his mind, he would show this Golden Core State primary stage that there were some people he couldn't afford to offend. 15 minutes later, 53 Golden Core State cultivators sat in the hall. After the door closed, Yemo found that other than the female waiters, he was the weakest one there. The weakest cultivator besides him was a Golden Core State level 4. But Yemo didn't mind. His power had greatly increased, and he had mastered the Purple Eye Soul Sever level 1. He wasn't afraid of anyone here even before he had learned it, but now, he was confident in killing Golden Core State peak stage. Seeing that Yemo, a mere golden core state level 2, dared to come to a high-level golden core state social. Many people were shocked. Seeing that he came along with Li Jingwen, though, they understood that this golden core state level 2 was being protected by him. However, Li Jingwen was only golden core state level 7 himself. Seeing that all the cultivators were here, a golden core state peak stage cultivator got up and said, "This is a social within our small region. Most of you people here are solo cultivators. The purpose of the social, as you all know, is for us to get what we need the most. Okay, let's cut the bullshit. I'll start." Then the cultivator took out a palm-sized ship and began. "This is a top-grade flying spirit artifact. I hardly need to explain its value. It uses small spirit stones and is very fast. It also has a very special property, stealth." Yemo saw this and was interested. Ever since his flying pike broke, he hadn't gotten a flying magic artifact. The ones he got from the golden core state storage rings were very low grade. Even his Zisu was better. This cultivator scanned the excited cultivators and continued, "I didn't want to sell this, but I've been stuck in golden core state for too long. So I want to trade for a Chao Huan pill or a similar pill." People in the room were immediately disappointed. How precious was the Chao Huan pill? It was the most important pill for golden core state cultivators. No one would be dumb enough to trade a Chao Huan pill for this. "Dao Frenjia, your flying spirit artifact is precious, but it's not worth a Chao Huan pill, plus, it has close to no defense abilities. This greatly diminishes its value," a golden core state level 9 pointed out. The golden core state peak stage felt a little awkward. He knew that it wasn't worth the pill, but he wanted to test his luck. "I'll offer 200k top-grade spirit stones and 1 low-grade flying spirit artifact," a voice suddenly said. The cultivator shook his head and responded, "I don't need spirit stones. I need pills or herbs helpful to me. Plus, this price is far from what I wanted." No one made a bid. Everyone wanted the flying spirit artifact, but the price was absurd. Yemo had the Chao Huan pill, but taking it out here it would be tantamount to suicide. But he still had a lot of good things. "Does any friend want to trade for this?" the cultivator asked. "If not, then bring out the next item. I'll take the flying spirit artifact," a voice suddenly sounded out, catching everyone's attention. Chapter 964. Whole scene envious. Chapter 964. Whole scene envious. Everyone looked at the cultivator who made the bid. When everyone saw it was just a golden core state level 2 cultivator, they were all dazed. This was a joke? There were 53 golden core state cultivators present, and this golden core state level 2 fellow was the weakest. When everyone else couldn't afford it, this cultivator said he was going to take it. "Brother Emo," Li Jingwen reminded Yemo worriedly. "Although this was a private small gathering, if you messed around, people would still punish you. Not only would you not be allowed to make any more bids, you would even have to give compensation to the other party. This compensation purely depended on the person's mood. If they were in a bad mood and made you hand over your storage ring, you had no choice but do so. You were allowed to make a bid on anything you wanted, but your bid had to be at least similar to what the other requested. If the difference was too huge, then it was considered messing around. How could a golden core state level 2 cultivator have something that matched a top-grade flying spirit artifact? Sun Hochang was surprised but quickly reacted. This golden core state level 2 cultivator didn't know the rules of the gathering and wanted whatever he liked. The time for him to suffer was coming. Now, he was even grateful that Li Jingwen had brought over Yemo. That golden core state peak stage cultivator was originally happy when he heard someone make a bid, but when he realized it was a golden core state level 2 cultivator, his face sunk. This cultivator was too young, and his face didn't make him think of anyone special. Clearly, it was his first time here. "Dao friend, do you know what the consequences are if you can't take out something I'm happy with?" the cultivator said with an unhappy voice. Yemo didn't know what the consequences were, but he was no idiot. These sort of small gatherings cared about credibility the most. It would be no good for him to lie. When everyone looked at him, he said calmly, "I can't take out the Chao Huan pill dash, then that means you're here to play with me?" The cultivator, who was called Jia, had his voice turn cold. He was ready to fight Yemo if Yemo had nothing reasonable to say. "Brother Jia, calm down. Let's see his bid first." If you're not happy with it, then you can speak, an ordinary-looking woman said. She was in her 40s, at Golden Core State Level 9. Emo nodded to her in gratitude. Hee, Big Sister Lian, you must not have had a young guy in a while. Another Golden Core State Level 9 cultivator laughed. Big Sister Lian's face went cold. Guan Simping, what's that got to do with you? Even if you let me use your matchstick, I wouldn't be interested in using it. Perhaps this struck him where it hurt. Guan Simping grunted and didn't look too happy. Emo didn't wait for anyone else to say anything else and took out a crisp green vine. It was a level 6 herb. Emo had gotten it from the Mist Valley. It had two main functions. One was to be used in making the Soul Gathering Pill. The Soul Gathering Pill could increase a Golden Core State peak stage's chances of reaching the nascent soul state. The effects weren't as big as the Chao Huan pill, but it was still a heaven grade level 1 pill. Its other important function was to make the nascent soul state pill. That was a pill nascent soul state cultivators could use in their cultivation. But rarely anyone used it for the second purpose, as it was too much of a waste. A crisp green vine. The cultivator looked clearly at what was in Emo's hand, and he jumped. This was the thing he wanted. If there was no Chao Huan fruit, the crisp green vine was the best option for him. A crisp green vine? Most of the other Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivators opened their eyes wide staring at the crisp green vine. This to them was much more important than some flying spirit artifact. If they found a pill king to help them concoct pills with it, they could get 1 to 2 soul-gathering pill out of it. A soul-gathering pill's temptation was irresistible to those Golden Core State peak stage cultivators. The Jia cultivator really wanted Emo's crisp green vine, but he felt like using 1 crisp green vine to trade for his top-grade flying spirit artifact was a bit unbalanced. After all, it had to be made into a pill first. If the concoction failed, he would get nothing. I need this indeed, but you've only got 1 herb. If you had 2. The Jia cultivator stated his problem. Jarengio, if you don't want it, I'll take it. Friend, I have a top-grade spirit artifact. It's not a flying spirit artifact, but it's a rare offensive spirit artifact. Another Golden Core State peak stage cultivator stood out and said. He couldn't care about rules anymore. This involved the possibility of him reaching the nascent soul state. He might never get to see a second crisp green vine in his life. Gensher, are you going to obey the rules or not? I'm the one offering a trade right now. It's not your turn yet. How can you intervene? The Jia cultivator roared in anger. The Golden Core State peak stage cultivator laughed and didn't say anything. He had reached his goal already. If Emo wanted his top-grade offensive spirit artifact, then he wouldn't trade with the Jia fellow. However, Emo already had Zisu and didn't care about attack spirit artifacts. He just wanted a flying spirit artifact. He understood the Jia cultivator's hesitation. Perhaps if he persisted for a bit longer, he would eventually trade it. But Emo didn't have the mood to be petty about little things. So he took out a spirit crystal and said, I've only got 1 crisp green vine, but I'll add a spirit crystal. I think that's about the same worth as what you wanted. Seeing how crazy these Golden Core State cultivators were for the crisp green vine, he felt lucky he didn't take out the Chao Huan pill. Even for the crisp green vine, he could only allow himself to take out 1 despite having more than 20. A spirit crystal? Okay, I'll trade it. Jia Jiren threw the top-grade flying spirit artifact to Emo. Emo confirmed it and gave the spirit crystal and crisp green vine to Jia Jiren. The first deal ended like that. No one expected that the first exchange would involve such good things. After the first deal, every cultivator looked at Emo fervently. Who knows what other good things he had? Sun Hochang regretted very much that he didn't try harder to have Emo stay a few days earlier. If he had taken out Emo, these things would all be his. Now that this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator had exposed so many good things, his life would already be reserved for other people. Li Jingwen dazed upon seeing this, and soon knew Emo would be in a predicament. The things he took out didn't match his power. If he was a Golden Core State peak stage cultivator, then it would be more reasonable for him to take out such things. He frowned but still decided to help Emo. It's my turn. I have a spirit grade level 6 cultivation method. It's an escape-type secret technique. Once you activate it, not even nascent soul state cultivators can catch up to you. However, it can save your life, but it does use some essence blood. The second cultivator got up. He looked honest, but Yemo knew one couldn't judge people by their looks. Fate Zijiang looked more honest than anyone, yet he was very cocky. Everyone understood this was a blood escape type secret technique. It was equally valuable as a top-grade spirit flying artifact. Many people who didn't have escape means were interested in this escape technique. This cultivator then looked at Yemo and continued, I want to trade it for a half-step extreme grade attack magic artifact. I don't mind the type. Of course, if there's things like the crisp green vine, I'm willing to trade too. Perhaps Yemo would be interested in this if he didn't have the 5-element mobility technique, but now, he really wasn't interested in this spirit-grade mobility technique. After all, the 5-element mobility technique was heaven-grade. Seeing that Yemo didn't reply, this cultivator looked at the others in disappointment and continued, If any of you have something I'm interested in, I can also trade it. Chapter 965. I want to see just how you will kill me. Chapter 965. I want to see just how you will kill me. Although a lot of people wanted this blood mobility technique, his price was too high. Not even nascent soul state cultivators could afford half-step extreme spirit artifacts, much less golden core state cultivators. This exchange failed, so the people afterwards started requesting reasonable bids. Despite this, most of the requests were still at a higher value than the item itself. Most cultivators habitually looked over at Yemo, but after that first deal, Yemo hadn't made a sound. As the gathering progressed, all sorts of spirit-level cultivation methods, top-grade spirit artifacts, spirit herbs, ores, puppets, and so on were taken out for exchange, but there were very little pills. For golden core state cultivators, pills were very precious. Yemo saw a few herbs and ores he liked too, but he didn't buy them. He wasn't there to make a scene. He had come for the Du Lan Chun Xiao, but halfway through the gathering, he still hadn't seen it yet. Just when Yemo was worried and wanted to ask Li Jingwen, he saw Sun Hochang walk up to an old man and whisper something in his ears. The old man was at Golden Core State Level 8, and his face changed into surprise and joy after Sun Hochang's words, but he immediately suppressed that expression. Yemo's heart sunk. He had a bad feeling. At this moment, 2 more people made an exchange, and the next one was that Golden Core State Level 8 old man. The old man saluted with his fists and said, I'm Ming Yujiang. I'll be trading 2 things today. First is a blue moon ore, second is Tin Du Lan Chuan Xiao. Yemo heard the words Du Lan Chun Xiao and became focused. Li Jingwen pushed him in reaction too. He couldn't let someone take it. But at this moment, Ming Yujiang said, I want to trade for 1 crisp green vine and 1 spirit crystal. Everyone was shook when the old man said this. The blue moon ore was just an aesthetic item. It could be made into exquisite jewelry. It had a warm sky blue light that calmed the mind, but it had no benefits for cultivation. All the people there were there to increase their power. Who would want such a decorational ore? As for the Du Lan Chun Xiao, it was even worse. It couldn't be added to a pill and was only a level 3 spirit herb. It was just rare and had some potency for mental conditions. Its help was limited though, since it couldn't be added to a pill. A blue moon or in Tin Du Lan Chun Xiao. How dare he ask for the crisp green vine? But that was the price. It was up to you if you wanted to trade it. Everyone looked at Yemo. Clearly, this old man was targeting Yemo. Yemo calmed down. He understood what was going on. Sun Hochang had guessed that the reason why he came to the gathering today was for the Du Lan Chun Xiao. After all, it was beneficial for mental conditions, and he knew that this old man had Du Lan Chun Xiao. So, he told Ming Yujiang to ask for the crisp green vine, seeing that Yemo seemed willing to give everything for Su Jingwen. Yemo didn't make a bid, though. He had to get the Du Lan Chun Xiao, but he wasn't impulsive. In fact, Yemo would be willing to trade all of his crisp green vines for the Du Lan Chun Xiao without hesitation. But the key thing was, if he took out another crisp green vine, he would be facing an extra round of hunting. If he could take out 2, it meant he had a third. Everyone looked at Yemo, hoping he would take out another crisp green vine. Yemo said coldly, I don't have any more crisp green vines, but I believe you know I need the Du Lan Chun Xiao desperately, and that's why you asked for it. If you're willing, I have 2 other options. One is to give you the top-grade flying spirit artifact. The second is to give you 5 blue wind pills and my last spirit crystal. Choose your option. Although everyone was disappointed to hear that EMO had no more crisp green vines, they realized how desperate EMO was for the Dulan Chun Shao. But one thing was for sure, this cultivator didn't have any more crisp green vines. Even if he did, he wasn't willing to take one out. Ming Yujiang was shaking with excitement. He didn't think his items would trade for so many pills. Just when he wanted to answer, he was pushed by Sun Hochang. Ming Yujiang woke up from his excitement and knew that even if he asked for more, EMO would still trade. Clearly, Sun Hochang hadn't tricked him. He said, I just want crisp green vines. But if you really don't have it, then you can combine your two options. Not just EMO, but everyone else at the scene was cursing at Ming Yujiang's greed. Merely 10 level 3 spirit herbs, and he dared ask for a top-grade spirit artifact and 5 blue wind pills and a spirit crystal. Was he mad? Usually, 10 Dulan Chun Shao wouldn't even be worth 1 blue wind pill, yet he was asking for such an exaggerated price. Yemo held back his anger. If it wasn't that they were in the middle of a gathering, he would want to kill Ming Yujiang right away. But in order to save Su Jingguan, he had to agree. Even the spirit recovery pill she had taken was far more expensive than this price. Just when Yemo wanted to agree, he heard a voice in his head. Little brother, I have Dulan Chun Shao but only 8. Is that enough? I don't have the blue moon or either. If you agree, I only need 3 blue wind pills. Yemo heard this and knew it was the sister Lien who had helped him before speaking. He rejoiced and immediately answered her telepathically. Okay, I'll take it. 8 is enough for me. He only had 1 spirit attraction grass yet. He had managed to add it to a pill at the tournament. 8 was more than enough for him to practice. Okay, in that case, after the gathering, I will wait for you in the Chang Park, 300 kilometers to the east of the city, Big Sister Lien said with joy. 3 blue wind pills would be enough for her to reach the Golden Core State Peak stage. Brother Mo, this price is too excessive, and the Dulan Chun Shao being able to help is just a theory we have. We don't know if it will work, Li Jingwen reminded Yemo, fearing that he would agree on impulse. Yemo smiled. Brother Li is right, I'm too careless. Then Yemo said to Ming Yujiang, Daofren Ming's items are too expensive. I can't afford them, you should find someone who can. Hearing this, everyone breathed in a sigh. This was normal. Everyone subconsciously didn't want such an unfair trade to be made. How can that be? Didn't you just say it's very important to you? How can you suddenly not proceed with the trade? Ming Yujiang couldn't accept such a sudden loss and screamed out. In his desperation, he forgot that it was Sun Hochang who told him this. Yemo sneered. Why not? I don't want to trade. Do you want to force the trade? Ming Yujiang just realized that Yemo really didn't want to trade, and he immediately began to worry. Everyone looked at Ming Yujiang and laughed. This guy was too greedy and caused the buyer to change his mind. Let's do as you asked before then, 5 blue wind pills and 1 spirit crystal, Ming Yujiang quickly said. Yemo just shut his eyes and couldn't even be bothered to talk to this Ming Yujiang. Ming Yujiang became more and more desperate. Do you want to break the rules of the gathering? A mere Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator made a bid and now wants to go back on it. Do you think I won't kill you? Very well, I want to see just how you will kill me. Yemo suddenly got up. His bleak killing intent spread over the entire hall. Even some Golden Core State Peak stage cultivators felt cold and thought, this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator has such dense killing intent. How many beasts and people has he killed? Ming Yujiang's temperament was nothing compared to Yemo. Chapter 966. Follow. Chapter 966. Follow Ming Yujiang. How come I heard you're the one breaking the rules of the social? Do you think that I can't kill you? Jiarenjiu was already unhappy with Ming Yujiang asking for high prices. Plus, he got something from Yemo too. He traded his top-grade flying spirit artifact for the crisp green vine. But this Ming Yujiang still dared to threaten people during an exchange. Ming Yujiang saw Jiarenjiu come out and threaten him, and immediately looked down. He was inwardly very unsatisfied, but he had no choice but to take a seat. Sun Hochang didn't think Yemo really wasn't going to have the Dulan Chun Shao. This wasn't what he expected. he wasn't able to sabotage Yemo. But when he heard Yemo had the blue wind pill, his hatred for him grew. He finally understood why Li Jingwen asked for the blue wind herbs back. He had been trading blue wind pills with this golden core state level 2. He had to kill this golden core state level 2, or else he would feel unsatisfied. He would ask for Ming Yujiang to help him later. Even with Li Jingwen standing on his side, they would win for sure. Even though he was going to kill Yemo later, he didn't want to let Yemo off now either. Dao Frenjia, Dao Friends here today. That golden core state level 2 clearly said that Dao Friend Ming can choose one of the two options, but now he says he doesn't want it. Is this not challenging our social rule? Then, he looked at Yemo and said, "You're a mere golden core state level 2, and you dare to challenge the rules of our social. Even if other people will let you go, I won't let you go. Even though I'm a spirit pill master and am not good at combat, I still demand justice." Sun Hochang was reminding others that Yemo was only golden core state level 2, and he was golden core state level 7 and a spirit pill master, trying to force them to choose sides. No one who cultivated until golden core state was dumb, and they could understand what Sun Hochang meant. Some people didn't think they would need help from Sun Hochang, but no one wanted to offend a spirit pill master for something irrelevant. Even Jiajiren didn't speak out this time. Yemo looked at Sun Hochang and said coldly, "Scum, show me what you have." He didn't bother explaining anything. How could Sun Hochang resist such an insult? He was about to stand up and speak again. But that big sister Lien said coldly, "Son, you're just a shabby level 6 spirit pill master. What's there to show off about? Anyways, what has this even got to do with you?" Ming Yujiang was unhappy with the bid and already rejected it clearly. "Are you deaf? Or do you think everyone else here is deaf? The Dao friend opposite you called you a scum. I think even scum is much better than you." Sun Hochang's face turned green, but he didn't dare to rage at big sister Lien. She was much more powerful than him. Truly, a level 6 spirit pill master really wasn't much. He had a lot of friends because he knew how to concoct pills, but his level of friends wasn't too high. If he was a level 7 spirit pill master, this woman wouldn't speak to him like this. Big sister Lien's words brought a wave of sneers. Everyone knew that after this, Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochang weren't going to let go of that golden core state level 2 cultivator, but no one cared. Sun Hochang sat down reluctantly. He wanted to charge over and kill Yemo immediately, but he had to wait till the social ended. The social continued. There were a few more things that Yemo wanted, but he didn't bid at all. He knew that although he only bid twice, he had shown too much and couldn't bid anymore. The social ended quickly due to the first deal being too good and people being unable to get what they wanted. Sun Hochang didn't see Li Jingwen take out the blue wind herb and wanted to kill Yemo even more. When it was just daybreak, the cultivator left Miao Xiang Tower. He was going to say goodbye to Li Jingwen when he said, "Brother Yi, I don't have any place to go now. If you don't mind, I'll follow you." Yemo knew what Li Jingwen was thinking. He was worried that Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochang would ambush him. But another reason was that he was a pill king. If he followed a pill king, his future would certainly be bright. Yemo trusted Li Jingwen's character and said, "Brother Li, you know I'm hiding from people. The power that is hunting me is bigger than you can imagine. If you stay with me, it might bring misfortune to you." Li Jingwen laughed, "Brother Yi, if I don't even have this little courage, I don't deserve to stay with a pill king. With my talent, even if I reach golden core state peak stage, it would be very hard for me to reach nascent soul state. I might as well follow Brother Yi." "Okay." Yemo nodded. "Brother Li, I was planning to go to Pei Hai City, but Big Sister Li told me telepathically to deal with the Dulan Chun Shao outside the city. If you've decided to fight for a future with me, then we'll go to Pei Hai City separate ways. I have too many enemies, so be careful." Li Jingwen nodded. "Okay, in that case, I will go with you to deal the Dulan Chun Shao first. I suspect Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochang aren't just going to leave. After you get the Dulan Chun Shao, we'll split up and meet in Pei Hai City." The two walked around Ganshua City for a while and came to the small garden 300 kilometers east of the city. Big Sister Lien had long been waiting there. She saw Yemo and Li Jingwen arrive and smiled, taking out a big jade box for Yemo. Yemo liked this straightforwardness. He checked the box and found there were indeed 8 Dulan Chun Shao inside, upon which he immediately put it away. He took out another jade bottle and a spirit crystal without hesitation. Big Sister Lien was dazed and asked, "I just asked for 3 blue and pill. Why did you add a spirit crystal?" Yemo smiled. "Thank you for helping me twice. This is the price I named before. I don't like going back on my words, so don't mind it, Big Sister Lien." Big Sister Lien heard this and put on a seductive face. "Little brother, you really know how to talk. My bones are going numb hearing this." Yemo immediately knew this Big Sister Lien was no saint either. She looked average but knew some seduction methods, but this had nothing to do with him. When she opened it to see that there were 5 blue wind pills, she became very happy. But when she saw they were special grade, she couldn't calm down anymore. "You're dealing special grade blue wind pills?" Yemo smiled but didn't mind. Even if this woman had any bad intentions, he was leaving immediately. He was grateful that this woman helped him, but he had other plans for giving her the extra in the form of 2 blue wind pills and 1 spirit crystal. Seeing that Yemo only smiled and didn't speak, Big Sister Lien immediately knew that while her goods seemed expensive, Yemo didn't care about them at all. Her interest in this golden core state level 2 was immediately piqued. She smiled seductively. "Seeing how you're giving me so much, let Big Sister help you out too." Yemo knew Sun Hochong and Ming Yujiang were trailing him. He wasn't planning to let Big Sister Lien help nor take out the extra goods, but the third person who came made him change his mind. Chapter 967. This cultivator is too scary. Chapter 967. This cultivator is too scary. Yemo estimated that even Big Sister Lien had only noticed Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochong. It seemed she hadn't noticed the third person. If she had, she probably would be taking her things and leaving already. If it was only those two, how could Yemo ask someone for help? He could get it done himself. The third person who came was Jean Sher, the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator who dared to fight with Jarangio. Before Big Sister Lien said anything, Yemo saluted with his fists. "Thank you for helping, Big Sister Lien." Emoing is very grateful. She looked at Yemo with astonishment. "You know that Ming and Sun are following you?" Big Sister Lien was just bemusedly asking a rhetorical question, so without waiting for an answer from Yemo, she immediately looked a few hundred meters away and said, "Come out, stop hiding. I hate sneaky people. A mere Golden Core State Level 7 and Level 8 dare to rob others? It's your bad luck that I'm here." Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochong's expressions were very bad. They didn't expect this woman to intervene in the matter. With her here, they would lose for sure. Li Jingwen felt very guilty. Both Yemo and Big Sister Lien knew they were being followed, but he didn't. The two were about to leave when suddenly a voice sounded. "What if you include me?" Other than Yemo, everyone looked over at the voice. "It's you, Jean Sher. What are you doing here?" Big Sister Lien had a bad feeling. She had the feeling she had been used by this Golden Core State Level 2 fellow. Although she could ignore her shame and leave now, but she was quite a known figure in Shuagan City. It would be too embarrassing to be scared off by Jean Sher like that. Jean Sher didn't mind her words and said calmly, "I was interested in this little brother's crisp green vine, but he ignored me. I'm very uncomfortable with that. So if he's willing to apologize and let me check his storage ring, I'll leave immediately." Big Sister Lien looked at Yemo with a troubled look. This would be like slapping his face and killing him. Even a Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator shouldn't ask a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator to do that. Yemo sneered as though he didn't hear what Jean Sher said at all. Li Jingwen knew that the big battle couldn't be avoided and took out his magic artifact, standing on Yemo's side. Big Sister Lien had a troubled look. It's not that she didn't want to help Yemo, but she really couldn't beat Jean Sher. Jean Sher was a solo cultivator, but he was renowned for his savagery. Even Jiajiren didn't want to mess with him. He cultivated a gold element cultivation method and had a top-grade spirit artifact spear that was made with 18 types of metals. Jean Sher said to Ming Yujiang and Sun Hochong, "Help me a little. I can give you 30% of the kid's storage ring." "Brother Jean, what are you saying?" "I have feud with that little punk anyways. It's my duty to help Brother Jean," Sun Hochong immediately said. Although he couldn't get all of Yemo's wealth, even 15% was enough for him. He could tell that this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator was very wealthy. Emo looked at Big Sister Lien and suddenly said, "If you can help me stop this gene scum for 8 minutes, I'll be very grateful. I don't need you to be involved any more than that." Big Sister Lien heard this and immediately said, "Okay, I can do that. Although I'm no match for him, I can still stall him for that long." Jean sure heard that a Golden Core State Level 2 dared to call him scum and immediately felt the same rage Sun Ho-chang felt before. He waved his hand, and a faint red spirit artifact spear appeared in his hands. Then he attacked Emo with blood-red killing intent. Before the spear could reach Emo, Big Sister Lien blocked it with a spirit artifact shield. Jean sure didn't say anything and attacked Big Sister Lien. Emo said to Li Jingwen, "Brotherly, stall Ming Yujiang. I'm going to kill Sun Ho-chang, this scum, first." Emo wanted to kill this guy the most. If it wasn't for this guy, he would have been able to buy Ming Yujiang's Du Lan Chun Shao for the most reasonable price. If that happened, none of this would have happened. "Brother Emo, you're just at Golden Core State Level 2. Li Jingwen was worried that Emo wouldn't be able to deal with Sun Ho-chang. But Sun Ho-chang and Ming Yujiang had already charged up towards Emo, clearly both wanting to kill Emo to ease their fury. Li Jingwen didn't have time to talk, and he could only stop Ming Yujiang, who was slightly stronger, and watch Sun Ho-chang attack Emo. Sun Ho-chang was a very ordinary Golden Core State Level 7 fighter. Emo waved his hand, and Zisu appeared. At the same time, an illusion cloud essence binding strike was chopped out. When Sun Ho-chang saw Emo use a kitchen knife spirit artifact, he was stunned. This shouldn't be, right? This guy was so wealthy. How could he use such a trash magic artifact? Before he could think too much, though, he felt that his cultivation essence was bound. He was shook and immediately knew things weren't good. This guy was no Golden Core State Level 2 fighter. He was clearly stronger than him. Sun Ho-chang was sweating, and his only thought was to escape Emo's bind and run away. When Sun Ho-chang wasn't able to break free, he burned his essence blood without hesitation and broke free from the bind. But as soon as he broke free, the second strike came, Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Countless sword rays came pouring over him. Despair appeared in Sun Ho-chang's eyes. What sort of person was this? How did he have such a terrifying sword technique and enormous cultivation essence? If he got another chance, he would rather suck up to Emo than stop him. This was suicide. Sun Ho-chang only had time to release a shield, but before he could even insert cultivation essence into it, he was consumed by Emo's purple sword rays. Blood and flesh flew all over the sky. Emo didn't show any mercy. Emo sneered. He had overestimated this Sun Ho-chang. He only used 2 moves, and he was dead. Emo didn't stop there. He waved Zisu and used the Illusion Cloud Division Strike again. It covered the heavens as it swept towards Ming Yujiang this time. More and more sword rays appeared as they flew towards him. Ming Yujiang was only a little bit stronger than Li Jingwen, so he was caught up by Li Jingwen already. He wasn't too worried at first as he believed Sun Ho-chang would help him after he killed that Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator. However, what awaited him wasn't help but endless purple sword rays. As they quickly completely enveloped him, his heart sunk rock bottom. He was tricked. This was no Golden Core State Level 2 fighter at all. If he were, he wouldn't be able to kill Sun Ho-chang so easily and release such powerful sword rays. Ming Yujiang now felt like his threat to kill Emo had been too ridiculous. He should have been alerted when he felt this cultivator's intense killing intent, but he was blinded by greed. He wanted to stop the sword ray but couldn't break free from Li Jingwen. Before he could even regret, his head was sliced off and fell tens of meters away. His eyes were still wide open in disbelief that he had just died like that. It was less than a minute and Emo had killed both Sun Ho-chang and Ming Yujiang. Jean Shi and Big Sister Lien stopped their fight subconsciously. They both looked at Emo in shock. Even they wouldn't be able to kill a Golden Core State Level 7 opponent in such a short time, much less 2 of them. This Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator was too scary. Li Jingwen knew Emo was wealthy, so he didn't reject. Seeing this, Big Sister Lien said unhappily, "Brother Emo, I helped you a lot. When I go back, that Jean sure won't let me go. How could Yimo not know what she wanted? He took out Sun Ho-chang's ring and checked the inside. He took out an extreme-grade spirit stone and then threw the ring to her. The things inside are enough to compensate you. Enjoy secretly laughing it off somewhere. Then, Yimo signaled Li Jingwen to leave. Soon, they were gone. Lin Yuji saw Yimo take out the extreme-grade spirit stone and then throw everything to her, and she was a little unsatisfied. In her eyes, Sun Ho-chang's most valuable thing was the extreme-grade spirit stone. But when she checked inside, she found a jade bottle. When she opened it, she saw it contained a soul-forming pill. Her heart skipped rapidly. She didn't expect Sun Ho-chang to have such pills. This was too unexpected. Did that emo fellow not find this? Rather than that, this was probably what he meant when he said she could laugh it off somewhere. A golden core state level 2 cultivator didn't even care about the soul-forming pill? How wealthy was he? Yimo was definitely no ordinary person and had much more valuable pills on him, but she didn't want to think about that. She had obtained the blue wind pills and a soul-forming pill. What she should be worried about now was finding a quiet place to form her soul. Yimo was planning to go separately to Peihai at first, but Jean Shi and Big Sister Lian knew that Li Jingwen was with him. Even if they couldn't find Yimo, they might find Li Jingwen and follow him to Peihai City. Yimo had also decided to study Su Jingwen's condition on the flying ship he bought. Someone needed to man the ship, and Li Jingwen was the best choice. This flying ship he bought from Jiarenjia was countless times better than his flying pike. It was much bigger and had 3 rooms with a set of living facilities. Its speed was incomparable, and it flew in a much more comfortable way. Yimo's spirit controlled the ship and named it the Flying Cloud Ship. The only bad point about it was that its defense was too weak. Yimo was no forgery master, but he excelled in formations. He inscribed a few formations on the ship, and its defense was drastically improved. He let Li Jingwen control it after releasing it. He took Su Jingwen inside a room and settled her down before starting to investigate the Dulan Chun Shao. Li Jingwen chose to go to rather distant places as told by Yimo, and so they didn't face any obstructions on the way. Li Jingwen would use his spare time to cultivate, but he didn't disturb Yimo. He knew Yimo was trying to figure out how to use the Dulan Chun Shao in a pill. Yimo thought it would be much easier than when he used the spirit attraction grass to make a pill, but Yimo was made to realize 2 days later that he had been too hopeful. Dulan Chun Shao could be added into a pill, but it would greatly decrease its effects of curing mental conditions. Yimo used up 6 Dulan Chun Shao and still didn't succeed. Yimo was thanking Ming Yujiang in his heart now. If he hadn't brought him 10 more, Yimo would be really worried. The reason why the Dulan Chun Shao could even be added to a pill at all was thanks to the herb essence whirlpool Yimo had invented, but its potency was still greatly reduced. When he used the spirit attraction grass, this didn't happen. So why did it happen with the Dulan Chun Shao? The potency of the herb couldn't be kept and would immediately start to dissipate. On the 3rd day, Yimo used up a lot of spirit sense as he needed it to control the whirlpool. When he used the spirit recovery pill, he suddenly thought of the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow. It could be made into spirit recovery pills because it could absorb the potency of other herbs and form a new pill. The reason why the spirit recovery pill worked out was because of how the marrow could fuse the potency of multiple herbs together without any loss of potency. The more Yimo thought, the more he felt like he had a possible solution. It was just that the difference in level between the 2 items was so high that he didn't think of adding them together before. Just when Yimo was about to try out his new method, the warning card in his room lit up. This warning card was used between him and Li Jingwen. Now that this card lit up, it meant that Li Jingwen was in trouble. Yimo immediately put down his pills and closed the door. Then, he dashed to the head of the ship. Chapter 969. Bandits. Chapter 969. Bandits, Brother Yi. We've been stopped by bandits. Li Jingwen held the universal ruler and said. Yimo saw that their boat had been stopped by another boat. It was a middle-grade flying spirit artifact, but it was much bigger than the flying boat and seemed a lot sturdier. However, it was ugly. Just when Yimo was confused about how such a ship could stop their flying boat, Li Jingwen said, Sorry, Brother Yi. I was so focused on studying the universal ruler that I didn't notice we had been stopped by these bandits. Yemo thought that these bandits probably wanted his ship. Even if Li Jingwen hadn't lost focus, these guys probably would have a way to stop their boat. There were more than bandits aboard the ship. There were also 2 Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivators. One was Golden Core State Level 9, and the other a Golden Core State Level 7. In addition, there were 3 Golden Core State Middle Stage, 5 of the Primary Stage, and 4 Foundation Establishment State cultivators. A cloaking formation prevented Yemo's spirit sense from reaching inside. The head Golden Core State cultivator had messy hair. When he saw Li Jingwen call out to a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator, he sneered and said coldly, "Leave behind your ship along with your storage rings and I can let you leave." As he said this, a few cultivators from the ship surrounded Yemo's flying cloud ship. Yemo estimated that if these people attacked at the same time, he and Li Jingwen would be no match. But the good thing was that they were on this ship. Its agility and speed were such that the bandits' ship couldn't compare. This made Yemo think of a good idea. Control the ship and escape south, Yemo quickly said to Li Jingwen. This was heard not only by Li Jingwen, but also by the people from the other ship. The Golden Core State Level 9 quickly ordered, "Stop him. Don't let him go." Those cultivators with quick reactions had already charged south, ready to stop them. They might not be able to completely stop the ship, but they only needed to slow it down a little. The 4 Golden Core State cultivators went south. To them, Li Jingwen was the person they needed to be wary of, but he was controlling the ship and letting Yemo pave the way. This was too beneficial for them. Yemo stood at the head of the ship. Before the ship neared those few Golden Core State cultivators, he released Zissou. He was facing only Golden Core State Primary Stage and Middle Stage cultivators, so he didn't need to worry at all. He cast the Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Zissou activated and released countless sword rays that formed a sword veil. The 2 Golden Core State Level 1 cultivators were swept away in this shock, and the 2 Golden Core State Middle Stage bandits just barely managed to protect themselves. The cultivator who charged up to stop Yemo stopped quickly, but Yemo didn't stop. He used the second strike. Yemo found that his spirit sense and cultivation essence was far superior to ordinary Golden Core State Middle Stage cultivators, so he didn't need to use Illusion Cloud. This second strike was just an ordinary strike. The Golden Core State Level 4 that just blocked Yemo's sword ray didn't even have time to react before Zissou hacked over. His only thought was, such a fast blade. In just 2 moves, Yemo had killed off 3 of the 4 cultivators who came to stop him. The remaining Golden Core State Middle Stage fighters weren't able to stop Yemo's ship no matter what. Just when Li Jingwen was about to break free, Yemo commanded, "Go east." Li Jingwen immediately realized what Yemo's intentions were. Yemo had never planned to escape. He was instead planning to finish off the weaker cultivators and then go kill that Golden Core State Level 9. Thinking about how Yemo had instantly killed 3 Golden Core State cultivators, Li Jingwen could feel his blood boiling as well. There were 1 Golden Core State Middle Stage and 2 Golden Core State Primary Stage cultivators here, along with 3 Foundation Establishment State cultivators. This power was enough to hold them up for a bit, but Yemo never intended to run. He released Zissou and used the Illusion Cloud Division Strike again, as well as the Purple Eye Soul Sever to pierce the spirit stones of the Golden Core State Middle Stage cultivator. Yemo wanted to test how powerful his Purple Eye Soul Sever was in the first level. A purple ray swept over, and the Foundation Establishment State cultivators couldn't resist at all. One of the 2 Golden Core State Primary Stage had an arm severed and fled. The Golden Core State Middle Stage was disoriented under the Purple Eye Soul Sever and was instantly killed off by Yemo's purple sword rays. At this moment, the Golden Core State Level 9 realized that his enemies had never planned to escape. If they really did, they could have just fled from the south side. He thought that if his men could stop the 2, then he could attack them, but the reality was that he never had a chance to attack. As Yemo killed more people, the bearded cultivator was furious. He now knew that Yemo was at least of his caliber, or else he wouldn't have been able to kill Golden Core State Primary Stage cultivators so easily. When Yemo wanted to kill more, he was stopped by that Golden Core State Level 7 and Level 9. Yemo wasn't worried now. He used his lightning battle to kill many Golden Core State cultivators. Now there was just one more golden core state middle stage and two golden core state primary stage opponents left. Yemo ignored those foundation establishment state cultivators. One of the golden core state primary stage cultivators was also heavily injured. Yemo was sure he could deal with the two golden core state tertiary stage, and Li Jingwen could clean up the remaining people. Because Yemo killed so many of them in such a short amount of time, the golden core state level 9 was adamant on killing Yemo. These people had followed him for a long time. Due to how quickly they got wealthy from robbing others, their cultivation speed was fast. Originally, it was just him and the golden core state level 7 who were in the golden core state in this group, and the rest were all foundation establishment state. But after many years of robbing, they had amassed 10 people in the golden core state. Now, half of them had already been killed by Yemo. This meant their team was broken. How could he not be furious? He was also regretful. Their power wasn't overly strong, so they would usually choose their targets carefully before taking action. They had carefully studied the flying cloud boat and only took notice of Li Jingwen. This sort of boat was supposed to be their goat, but now the goat had turned into a fierce tiger. The golden core state level 9 came up and used 4 level 5 runes while releasing 7 flying swords. The level 5 runes couldn't affect Yemo and would at most force him to use some cultivation essence. Yemo knew that the golden core state level 9 didn't expect the runes to do anything. He just wanted to use them to gain the advantage and take the opportunity to attack him with the flying swords. A sword formation? Yemo looked at the 7 flying swords and immediately could tell this cultivator was a tough opponent. His sword formation skills weren't perfect as he had needed to buy time with a few runes. This was the first time Yemo had encountered this opponent, but if it was the second time, he could make sure he wouldn't even have time to set it up. After the sword formation was formed, the golden core state cultivator used a few hand signs and the flying swords left him and surrounded Yemo. Yemo suddenly felt as though he had sunk into mud. He couldn't really move and this mud was filled with sharp knives. Such a powerful sword formation, Yemo thought, using his illusion cloud exert will sword. Other than this move, Yemo couldn't think of another way to defeat the formation. He was sure that with his formation master skills, it wasn't a problem to see through this formation, but he didn't have the time right now. If he hesitated even slightly, he might really be minced by this sword formation. Chapter 970, Powerful Sword Formation. Chapter 970, Powerful Sword Formation. Seeing Yemo trapped in his sword formation, the golden core state level 9 sneered. If his sword formation could be so easily defeated, he would have died many times before. His sword formation wasn't merely a combination of sword rays. There were also some discrete ray combinations. Unless they possessed very strong spirit senses, the discrete rays would be enough to kill any cultivator. He had used this move to kill many cultivators stronger than him. It had never failed him. Creak. Zisu's sword rays clashed with those of the formation. Their cultivation essence barriers were shaking from the remnant sword rays. The golden core state cultivator was very surprised to see Yemo release such dense sword rays with a single strike, hitting his sword rays accurately. But he wasn't worried. His sword formation attack had just begun. Yemo's illusion cloud exert will sword was the fusion of sword and will. Wherever his will was directed, the sword ray would arrive. Because his spirit sense was strong, all the sword rays he released were in his spirit sense, and so had the ability to find the sword rays from the formation. But after Yemo hacked out with this strike, he felt something was wrong. He didn't have time to think properly, but he trusted his instincts. Quickly, he formed another cultivation essence barrier before he withdrew Zisu. As soon as he did this, he felt a chill. His reaction was rather fast, but a few sword rays he hadn't noticed still pierced through his cultivation essence barrier and struck him. Although he was injured, Yemo immediately ate a cultivation recovery pill and life force pill. Seeing that Yemo's injuries immediately began to heal from his heavily injured state, this golden core state level 9 was very shocked. He immediately knew that this cultivator had a lot of good pills. Thinking about this, he grew even more fervent. In his eyes, Yemo must be a golden core state peak stage cultivator. If he had such good pills as well as the precious top-grade flying spirit artifact ship, it meant that he might even have pills that helped in reaching the nascent soul state. If he could get such a pill, it was worth it to lose his brothers. Just when he wanted to attack EMO again, he found that EMO instantly left his sword formation. He was shocked. His formation only managed to attack once before EMO broke free. Although his power was low and he didn't know how to use consecutive attacks, he realized that this cultivator must be experienced in formations. EMO indeed instantly found the life door of the formation when he got injured and immediately came out. If he didn't get injured, he could stay and study the sword formation, but he wasn't going to take that risk now that he was injured. After coming out, EMO wanted to check what was it that tricked his spirit sense and injured him, but that golden core state level 7 attacked once more, not giving EMO a chance to breathe. He used a middle-grade spirit artifact longsword. EMO was already annoyed that he got hurt. How dare this golden core state level 7 ambush him? He shot a soul spike over without caring if his spirit sense got injured or not. The golden core state level 7 was stunned for a moment, and Zissou brought about a purple veil that sliced off his head. Before he could fall, EMO had already collected his long sword and storage ring. Then, he ate a spirit recovery pill. The soul spike was effective, but it cost him greatly too. The golden core state level 9 wanted to trap EMO again but found that in such a brief moment, his other companion had been killed. EMO calmed down. Although he had lost a lot of blood and used up a lot of spirit sense, this golden core state cultivator didn't seem to be doing too well either. His face was pale, so it was obvious that this sword formation was taxing on his spirit sense and cultivation essence. EMO instantly let out Shadowless, and before the 7 swords could trap him again, Zissou hacked out. Even though he really wanted to fight with this golden core state level 9 for a while and test his sword formation, EMO knew it wasn't the best time since he was injured. Who knew if someone had followed him? This guy was no weaker than Ji Ziyuan, maybe even a little stronger. The earlier he killed him, the better. Thud thud thud, Zissou clashed with the sword formation, but this time, EMO felt the hidden sword ray through his exert will strike. It was very hard for spirit sense to scan it, but it existed within the sword formation. If he went in again, even if he blocked the obvious sword rays, he would still be injured by those hidden ones. That was how he got injured the first time. Although EMO didn't have a good way to block this hidden sword ray, there was no way he was going to be injured by the same thing twice. Before the sword formation ray activated, he used his soul spike. He wanted to stop this golden core state level 9 before he even activated his attack. The cultivator didn't expect there to be such a peculiar spirit sense attack method. He paused for a moment, but this caused his sword formation to erupt into chaos and the hidden sword rays were gone. EMO rejoiced. He knew that this sword formation was very taxing on spirit sense. He couldn't allow himself to be interrupted at all. At the same time, EMO hacked out Zissou again and again. This time, it was the illusion cloud whirlpool strike. EMO didn't even need to command Shadowless as it locked onto the cultivator's meridians. This cultivator's battle experience was very good. He knew things weren't going well already. Usually, cultivators would try to run away as far as possible in the face of danger, but he knew he couldn't run now. His first reaction was to use a rune instead. When EMO saw it, he felt a sense of threat. It was a soul pill rune. Strictly speaking, it was not a rune but a one-use magic artifact that those in the nascent soul state could make. It only had one strike and was equivalent to the strike of a nascent soul state cultivator. However, lower-leveled cultivators needed some time to activate it. EMO was also experienced in battle and knew he couldn't run it all now. He had to stop it from being activated. The whirlpool strike surrounded the cultivator, but he didn't mind it at all and still tried to activate the soul pill rune. If EMO didn't have Shadowless, or if this cultivator had activated it earlier, EMO wouldn't be able to do anything, but now it was too late. Before Zissou fell upon his head, the cultivator felt his meridians hurt. Immediately he knew the situation wasn't good. He no longer dared to keep activating the rune now, instead quickly enveloping Shadowless with his cultivation essence. But Zissou's countless swirling sword rays enveloped him nonetheless. Crack crack. Emo realized that his strike didn't do any real damage to the cultivator. It just broke his top-grade spirit artifact and added a few light wounds. Emo realized why this guy didn't care about Zisu's attacks and still tried to activate the Soul Pill rune. When the Golden Core State level 9 saw his spirit artifact break, he knew he no longer had the ability to keep on fighting and turned to flee without hesitation. How could Emo let him flee? He hacked out again. Without any choice, the cultivator had to control his sword formation to block Emo's strike. However, Shadowless broke free of the cultivation essence binding and devoured his golden core as quickly as possible. With his golden core gone, the cultivator could only look on as Zisu sliced through his body. Chapter 971. Jingwen wakes up. Chapter 971. Jingwen wakes up. This time, Shadowless didn't keep devouring essence blood and instead landed on Yemo's hand and fell asleep again. Yemo threw Shadowless into the Golden Page world and started to collect his loot. He noticed that Li Jingwen had already killed the Foundation Establishment State Cultivator and was battling with the 2 Golden Core State Primary Stage and 1 Middle Stage fighters, but he still had the upper hand. Those people fighting Li Jingwen didn't even believe that their big boss would lose so quickly. So when Emo killed that Golden Core State level 9, it was already too late for them to run. They were already had the lower hand in the battle, and now that their big boss had been killed, they were worried. Just when they wanted to run, Li Jingwen took the opportunity to kill the 2 Golden Core State Primary Stage cultivators. The remaining Golden Core State Middle Stage cultivator didn't make it very far before he was finished off by Emo. Seeing Emo take part in the battle again, Li Jingwen sweated and said, "My battle power is too weak. If I was a little stronger, this wouldn't have dragged on for so long." Emo shook his head and responded, "These people have been fighting every day and are very experienced. Unless you're more powerful than them, the outcome of the battle would remain uncertain. Of course, this has something to do with your low-level cultivation method, but don't worry. Once you reach nascent soul state, I will get you a better cultivation method." "I can reach nascent soul state?" Li Jingwen asked in joy. Emo smiled, of course. Li Jingwen had already chosen to follow him. If he couldn't even expedite a cultivator of Li Jingwen's talent to the nascent soul state, then he didn't deserve to be Pill King. Li Jingwen resisted his excitement and didn't continue asking. His main purpose of following Emo was to progress further. Now that Emo promised him personally, what was there to worry about? "Wait for me here. I'll go take a look at that flying ship." Emo landed on the bandit's ship. A middle-grade spirit artifact was very precious. After Emo went inside, he found that the ship was indeed big. It had nearly 20 rooms and a big storage depot full of spirit stones, magic artifacts, ores, and herbs. Emo swept all of these into his ring without hesitation. The reason they stored the loot here in the depot and not in their storage rings was probably to reward cultivators and let them pick what they wanted themselves. The only room in here with a person was found by Emo. A cultivator was locked up here. He was only Foundation Establishment State Primary Stage power. Emo really couldn't understand why they locked him up. His eyes were full of despair, and he only looked up a little when Emo came in. But when he saw Emo, he asked in shock, "You're Yi Qianbei?" "Emo Yi Qianbei?" Emo looked at this Foundation Establishment State cultivator in confusion. He didn't know this guy, so how did he know him? Seeing this, the Foundation Establishment State cultivator quickly said, "Yi Qianbei doesn't know me, but I know you. I came from the teleportation formation on Xianjiao Mountain. I'm from the magical continents. I've long been admiring Yi Qianbei's power after you exerted your godly strength and killed countless enemies atop the magical continent mountain." Emo realized, "So you're from the inner hidden sects?" Yes, I'm Yu Qiang. I'm from the Luli sect. After the Xianjiao Mountain teleportation formation activated, I came with other people. I was lucky and met a Golden Core State level master here. My master was very nice to me and taught me cultivation, but 2 months ago these bandits killed my master." Suddenly, Yu Qiang thought of something and looked at Emo in shock. "Yi Qianbei, this ship belongs to bandits. Why are you?" Emo knew what he meant. He shook his head and told him, "I'm not a bandit. They stopped my ship, so I killed them all. I just happened to see you in here. But how come you're still alive after they killed your master? Yu Qiang was dazed and looked at Yimo in shock. He even forgot to answer Yimo's question. After a long while, he asked, Yiqian Bei, you're already a nascent soul state cultivator? But he immediately realized this wasn't something he could ask. He quickly said again, thank you for getting my revenge for me, Yiqian Bei. Yimo stopped him from kneeling but waited for his answer. After all, Yu Qiang was older than him. Yu Qiang said, I like to study formation in Luli sect, and the big boss of the bandits heard I had some knowledge on formations, so he kept me to discuss about formations with me. Yimo realized the big boss left him alive because he wanted to cultivate the sword formation further. But this Yu Qiang reached the foundation establishment state in a mere year. This talent was absurd. Is your talent very good? Yimo asked. He had to go through life and death to reach golden core state. Yet other people reached foundation establishment state so quickly. He was curious. His cultivation stagnated now, and he had been stuck in golden core state level 2 now. Yu Qiang shook his head. Although my talent is not bad, the reason I reached foundation establishment state so quickly was due to my master. He taught me a way to turn my inner qi into cultivation qi. This saved a lot of time. Yimo nodded. It seemed Yu Qiang's master was rather smart. I'm going to take this ship. What do you plan to do? Yimo asked. I want to follow Yiqian Bei. I don't know anyone here. You're the only person I know, Yu Qiang said. Okay. Yimo thought if he wanted to expand China pharmaceuticals, he would need more people. It was fine if Yu Qiang came along, and he knew about formations too. These sort of people were hard to find. Yimo's spirit controlled the bandit ship and then took Yu Qiang back on his own ship and introduced him to Li Jingwen. Yu Qiang knew some formation knowledge and liked to play with flying ships, so Li Jingwen let Yu Qiang control the ship while he gave him a few pointers and cultivated. The first thing Yimo did when he came back was to concoct some pills. Du Lan Chun Xiao was mixed with a few other herbs, and through his whirlpool pill concoction method and the stalagmite marrow, Yimo soon developed a new type of pill. He made 6 on the first try. The pills smelled aromatic, and Yimo could feel that the potency of the herb wasn't lost at all. He rejoiced, but still tried one first. It turned into this unexplainable spirit silk in his mouth that reached into his soul and started strengthening it. It's potent indeed, and heaven grade level 1. Yimo grabbed the other pills and said, I'll call this Du Stalagmite pill. It was ready, but Yimo became nervous. He wasn't sure if it could cure Su Jingwen. If this didn't work, what should he do? Yimo put the pill in Su Jingwen's mouth anxiously. Immediately, the pill melted into spirit liquid and disappeared. 10 seconds later, Su Jingwen didn't move at all. A minute passed, she still didn't move. 15 minutes passed, but still nothing. Yimo couldn't feel any mental waves from her. He began to worry. Just when he wanted to check her body, he found that she woke up from her slumber and opened her eyes. Yimo rejoiced but didn't talk. He knew that he needed to give her time now. Chapter 972. There is so much snow here. Chapter 972. There is so much snow here. Su Jingwen saw Yimo and suddenly closed her eyes. Then she opened them again and got up, murmuring, This isn't a hallucination? Jingwen, I didn't expect to see you here. This isn't a hallucination, it's real. Yimo looked at her and felt his heart ache. He could only imagine how much hardship she had gone through. When she was in Ninghai, she had never experienced anything close to this due to her great social status. Yimo felt even more guilty. He knew why she came here, but he just didn't know how to face it because he didn't know how to deal with relationships like this. The only way was to pretend he didn't know. It's really not a hallucination? Su Jingwen asked again. Then, as though she suddenly woke up, she charged into Yimo's arms and started crying. Yimo embraced her quietly and didn't talk. She needed to let out her emotions now. Su Jingwen cried for a while and looked up asking, Why are you here? The snow here is so much, so cold. Yimo wiped the tears from her eyes and said softly, There's no more snow. You won't be roaming in the snow alone anymore. This is my flying ship. This room isn't cold. Su Jingwen heard this and looked around. then looked at Emo again in surprise. Finally, she cried out again and hugged Emo tightly, not willing to let go. Emo, I finally found you. Emo breathed easy. He knew that she finally fully recovered now. He looked at her excitement and didn't dare to let go at all. The softest spot in his heart was pinched hard. He let Su Jingwen let out her emotions and didn't ask about Emo. After a long while, she calmed down and got up from Emo's arms with a blush. She sat next to Emo and asked quietly, "How did you find me?" She didn't know that day why Emo was just standing in the snow and not talking. But now she knew that rather than her having found Emo had found her instead. After I came to Jiangchuan City, I saw this bracelet and followed it all the way here. Emo took out the bracelet. Su Jingwen immediately took the bracelet and studied it before putting it back on her wrist. She looked down and didn't seem to want to say anything else. Emo didn't know what to say either now, and the reunion quietened down. Su Jingwen felt sad. She met him earlier than Song Yangzhu and Ning Qingxue, so why didn't he express anything? Suddenly, Su Jingwen thought that she couldn't cultivate it all and calmed down. She wasn't the same ignorant Su Jingwen anymore. She understood that some people could cultivate, and as long as their cultivation progressed, they had infinite life. She could at most only live 100 years, and a third of it had already passed. What about 100 years later? A century later, Emo would still be Emo, but she would be a cup of earth. What love was there to be? That loss and melancholy filled Su Jingwen's heart. Feeling this, Emo suddenly grabbed her hand and said, "Jingwen, this is my flying ship spirit artifact. I'll take you outside and see." She didn't object. Seeing the two walk out, Li Jingwen cried out in surprise, "Brother Yi, you succeeded? You really added Du Lan Chun Shao into a pill, and it cured her?" Emo nodded and smiled. "Thank you. If you didn't remind me about it, I really wouldn't know what to do." Li Jingwen realized just now that Su Jingwen was even more beautiful alive than when she was asleep. The sadness in her eyes made her seem feeble but render a unique sense of beauty. It made people look at her more. He couldn't help but admire Emo's choice of beauty. Su Jingwen realized that the reason Emo could cure her was because of this person's help. She quickly went up and thanked him. Li Jingwen didn't dare to accept her bow and quickly moved aside. So beautiful. Su Jingwen stood at the head of the ship and looked at the untainted blue sky. Clouds flew beneath her feet, and her mood lightened up. Her worry and loss suddenly disappeared. She didn't want to speak at all. She just wanted to watch the peaceful, clean sky outside. Perhaps on the other side of the sky was her home. Perhaps her mother was also watching her from there. Emo stood by her and didn't disturb her. Li Jingwen pulled Yu Qiang away and left the space for Emo and Su Jingwen. After a long while, Su Jingwen sighed and looked peacefully at Emo, saying, "Emo, I want to go back home." Emo understood what she meant by this. She was tired and wanted to go back to Ninghai. If he could do it, he would take her back without hesitation, but he couldn't. He pulled her into his arms and said softly, "Sorry, Jingwen, I can't take you back yet, but I promise I will be able to one day. You can stay with Luoying, Qingxue and Yangzhu, and Xiaoyun Emo," he added in his heart. He felt this was too absurd. He must not take another one like this. Su Jingwen shook and looked up. There was sourness in her nose. Is this the promise he gave me? Emo kissed her slowly. Su Jingwen's lips were very soft but cold too. However, they soon became warm. After some time, Su Jingwen came to her senses and remembered there were two other people here. But when she looked over, they had already left. She found she was completely immersed in Emo's arms. It was as though she couldn't feel safe if it wasn't like this. "Jingwen, starting from today, you can cultivate with me." Emo felt she had no cultivation chi inside her at all. Emo wasn't going to let this situation continue. Huh. Su Jingwen shook and her soft body turned stiff. It was as though Emo's words reminded her of a scary result. What's wrong? Emo passed some cultivation essence over to her to calm her down. Su Jingwen fell silent for a while and sighed. "Sorry, Emo. I don't have spirit root. I can't cultivate." She looked up at Emo wanting to see how disappointed Emo was, but Emo's eyes didn't even flicker. She pushed Emo away. I can't cultivate. Her tone was disappointed. This was something she couldn't overcome. Emo pulled her over and smiled. I know you can't. My sister Yiling couldn't either before, but now she's foundation establishment state, so you don't need to worry. With me here, not having a spirit root doesn't matter. You can really let me cultivate. Su Jingwen couldn't calm down. She heard that no spirit root meant no cultivation, but Emo still had a way? She couldn't resist her excitement. Cultivation meant that she could stay with Emo forever. He didn't know that he was the only man she had danced with, the only man that rode in her car, and the only man she liked. When she felt tired and lost, the heavens sent him to her again. Heavens gave her another chance. Emo nodded with certainty. Yes, I can concoct a pill called 5-Essence Pill that can let you develop a spirit root, and a good one as well. So don't worry. Oh, by the way, how do you know you don't have spirit root? Emo suddenly asked. Su Jingwen just wanted to answer when she thought of something else. She grabbed Emo and said, Emo was taken away. Hurry and bring her back. What happened to Emo? Emo couldn't stay calm anymore. Chapter 973. Hidden Spirit Root. Chapter 973. Hidden Spirit Root. Su Jingwen saw Emo's worried look and quickly said, Don't worry, Emo should be fine. When the four of us came to the small world, we asked around for you. Many people knew you and do to you. No one dared to be rude to us. However, everyone guessed that you went to Xianjiao Mountain's teleportation formation, so we went there too and were brought here. Seeing Emo calm down, Su Jingwen took a deep breath and continued, I was a little scared on the teleportation formation and was worried about Emo, so I held her hand. But when the teleportation formation stopped, we found that we didn't end up at the same place as Sister Yuehua and Wanqing. We had been split up. Emo nodded. He expected this. How's Emo? Emo asked worriedly. We were teleported to an ordinary town about 600 kilometers from Jiangchuan City. We went to that town and Emo's storage ring had a lot of things, so we didn't need to worry about living. We were planning to spend some time until I reached Qi Gathering middle stage and then go look for you and Sister Yuehua, but I was stuck around level 2. One day, we were cultivating outside when Emo cultivated out lightning sparks. Just when we were happy, a cultivator saw us too. What happened? Emo began to worry. Emo was only in Qi Gathering. They had no means of resistance against an ill-willed cultivator. Su Jingwen grabbed Emo's hand and said, That cultivator stopped and said, She has lightning spirit root. Great, great. Then he asked if Emo wanted to be his disciple. Emo didn't want to, of course, and she said she wanted to find her dad. Her dad was stronger than everyone. That man saw this and didn't force her. He raised his hand and sent his palm towards a distant mountain peak. That mountain was about a few kilometers away from us, but it was completely pulverized by him. Then, that person asked, Is your dad as strong as me? How did Emo reply? Emo knew that someone that could do that was at least body condensation state or above. It was far from something he could compare to. Su Jingwen moved closer to Emo and said, We were both very shocked. He was like an immortal. Although Emo admitted that person was strong, she still said her dad was stronger. That person smiled and didn't argue. He said that you can't find your dad now. Although you have a lightning spirit root, you don't have a lightning cultivation method. Even if you cultivate for 100 years, you won't be able to achieve anything. Then, he said that the North Far state we were in was billions of kilometers long. Even if we reached his level, we might not be able to find an individual, much less now. If Emo wanted to find you, she had to become his disciple and improve her power. Emo knew Emo had agreed, of course, but he still asked, Did Emo agree? Su Jingwen nodded. She thought about it and agreed, but Emo said that I had to go as well. I was very happy thinking that I might be able to cultivate if I had a master. That person tested Emo's spirit root and was very happy. But he looked at me and sighed after a long while. He told me that I had no spirit root and would never be able to cultivate. He told me that I should never let someone test my spirit root or I would die. Su Jingwen said, Although Emo asked me to go with her, that person said she could only come out at least 10 years later. Yimo didn't agree, but that person said if she didn't become his disciple, she wouldn't be able to find you in 100 years. Yimo could only agree, but I didn't want to stay there alone for 10 years, so I came out to test my luck and see if I could find you, Su Jingwen said shakily. After that person took Yimo away, I learned to masquerade and left the town. I roamed around, and half a year later, I came to Fuamo City, but I didn't stay there for long, and the city was destroyed by two powerful cultivators. I followed the asylum seekers to Jiangchuan City, and my bracelet was taken on the way. Now that I think about it, I should thank that person, or I might never have seen you again. Su Jingwen couldn't help but start crying again. Yimo grabbed her hand, tightly, knowing that she needed to vent out her emotions. Su Jingwen continued after a while. Later I knew that cultivators had longer lifespans than ordinary people, and I was getting lost. After I came to Jiangchuan City, I didn't dare to go work for a house, fearing that they would see through my disguise, so I could only roam the streets. That day, there was a lot of snow and I thought I would have no future. I just wanted to walk around in the city and find a peaceful place to leave the world. But the heavens pitied me and let me meet you. Yimo looked at her and knew Yimo didn't give the storage ring to her. She probably hadn't thought about it since she was just a child. Although Yimo was still a little worried, he could breathe easy that Yimo was taken away by a Qianbei who approved of her talent. Can I really cultivate? Su Jingwen asked again, worried. Yimo nodded. Of course, don't worry. Suddenly, Yimo thought of something and looked at her. Wait, you said you've been at Qi gathering level 2, but how come I don't sense any cultivation Qi on you? Su Jingwen said dejectedly. At the start, I was cultivating even faster than Wan Qing. But after stage 2 Qi gathering, I wasn't about to progress. Yimo's master said I had no talent, and I wouldn't be able to cultivate no matter how hard I worked. In my despair, I gave up cultivation, and my cultivation Qi gradually dissipated. Thinking about what Yimo's master said, he took out a spirit root testing machine and said, "Put your hand inside. I'll test for you." He found that none of the beads lit up indeed. She really didn't have a spirit root, but Su Jingwen said, Yimo's master tested for me last time too, but he had one white bead that lit up and dimmed down repeatedly. Are you a hidden spirit root? Yimo blurted out. His testing machine was too low quality and couldn't test it out. People who had hidden spirit roots like her would have their cultivation Qi dissipate if they didn't cultivate for a while. This was a leaking body, also called leaking spirit root. If she was really a hidden spirit root, it was rather amazing she could reach Qi gathering level 2. But if the hidden spirit root could be activated, it would be the fastest spirit root. Yimo's master said she had no spirit root because he knew that hidden spirit roots couldn't be activated at all. It needed the 9-colored lotus to activate, and that was something of the legends. Who would have it? Even if they did, they would use it to refine their own spirit root, and not use it to activate a hidden spirit root. Yimo was sure there was another way to activate it, and that was possession. That was why he told her not to let other people test her spirit root. At this moment, Yimo finally felt safe about Yimo. The hidden spirit root was the easiest spirit root to possess. Once it was possessed, it would be activated immediately. But Yimo's master didn't say this and warned her instead, meaning that he was indeed a respectable Qianbei. Yimo didn't have the 9-color lotus, but he knew that there was another way to do it. It was to make the rainbow spirit pill with a lotus with more than 5 colors and the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow. He just happened to have it and 2 5-color lotuses. She was a hidden spirit root and the white bead lit up. This meant that after activation, she might be a mutant ice spirit root, a pure one too. A pure ice spirit root activated with hidden spirit root would be the best spirit root Yimo had ever seen. Jingwen, come to my room. I'll help you concoct the rainbow spirit pill. Your talent might be the best amongst us. Even Yimo was desperate to know how fast she could cultivate once activated. Chapter 974. New Idea? Chapter 974. New Idea. Su Jingwen followed Yimo to the room and just remembered that the clothes she was wearing weren't the same she had been wearing before. She looked at Yimo and immediately realized what had happened. Although Yimo was the person she liked, She felt a little uncomfortable thinking that he saw her everything. But then she immediately thought, she already was willing to be with Yemo. Why care about that? Yemo didn't know, of course, that Su Jingwen thought about that much in such a short time. He started his pill concoction. Rainbow Spirit Pill was a heaven grade level 1 pill, but that was no pressure for Yemo, such a pretty lotus. Su Jingwen exclaimed as she saw Yemo take out the 5-colored rainbow. Yemo smiled and said, "This is the 5-colored rainbow. It's not fully mature yet, but it's said that once it matures, it would have 9 colors and be called the 9-colored lotus. It's one of the most precious things in the cultivation realm. Anyone would want it, even truth realization state cultivators, but up until now, no one has seen a real 9-colored lotus." Then isn't it a waste to use the 5-colored lotus now for pill concoction? Su Jingwen asked worriedly. She didn't fully understand, but she just felt that it was a pity to use such a pretty flower for mere pill concoction. Yemo said softly, "Even if I have the 9-color lotus, I would still use it without hesitation for you, much less this 5-color lotus." Yemo. Su Jingwen heard this and was touched. After these years of hardship and roaming, she finally understood how hard it was to get back what you had once lost. She had waited for this moment for more than 10 years. They only met in the end due to chance amongst chance. If Yemo wasn't concocting pills right now, she wouldn't be able to resist the urge in her heart to embrace Yemo again and express her feelings. Even though Yemo already knew, she wanted to say it again. Yemo was immersed in the process of concocting the Rainbow Spirit Pill. This was a special cauldron of pills. Yemo didn't use any materials besides the 5-color lotus and the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow. At this moment, Yemo was very grateful to Taisek Li Chung. If he hadn't given him all the stalagmite marrow, how many regrets would he have? If Yemo saw Li Chung in Luoyu, he would do all he could to help him. The 5-colored lotus slowly melted in the cauldron, and the impurities were expunged outside. Meanwhile, the stalagmite marrow enveloped the lotus as the two gradually merged together. 15 minutes later, the pill liquid rolled in the cauldron. The mist lotus heart fire switched intermittently from weak to strong. Yemo used all his means to concoct this rainbow spirit pill. Half an hour later, even Li Jingwen and Yu Qiang could smell the aroma. Su Jingwen was immersed in this pill smell. 45 minutes later, Yemo weaved a few pill collection signs, and a 5-colored pill fell into his hands. I created this cultivation method myself. No one knows about it. It's called 3 Birth Eyes Chant. Its name is ordinary, but if you can cultivate it, the results won't be ordinary, Yemo said. Su Jingwen nodded. The two cuddled together for one night in the room, and only the next morning did Su Jingwen slowly fall asleep. Yemo knew that the reason she stuck to him the entire night was that she had made up her mind to cultivate hard. Once she started doing that, they wouldn't have time for this. The second night, Su Jingwen woke up and Yemo had already prepared everything she needed for cultivation, including a storage ring and pills. He really wanted to make some good food for her, but Yemo just left her some food pills. It was best for her cultivation right now. Yemo also set up a simple spirit gathering formation around her. She didn't need the high-level things yet. Yemo came to the head of the ship without disturbing her cultivation. Li Jingwen was teaching Yu Qiang. Seeing Yemo, the two came over. Yu Qiang was already in foundation establishment state and wasn't suitable to be given a new cultivation method. Yemo gave him a storage ring and said, "These are the resources for foundation establishment state cultivators. When you need to form your core, I will give you a cultivation increasing pill. Here's also some of my understanding on formations. You can have a look." Yu Qiang took the storage ring excitedly. He thought he was going to be killed on the bandit ship for sure, but had instead received such fortune. He suddenly knelt down. "Yi Qian Bei, please become my master. You got revenge for my master. You are my master now." Li Jingwen looked at this scene in a daze and suddenly said, "Brother Yi, can I also be your disciple?" Yemo frowned and thought for a long time before replying, "Perhaps I should start a sect too." Chapter 975. Mou City. Chapter 975. Mou City, yes, Brother Yi. You should start a sect and we'll be the first-generation disciples, Li Jingwen said desperately. He had followed Yimo for a while and knew his wealth better than anyone. Regardless of whether Yimo started a sect or not, his future would be unparalleled. Once Yimo formed a sect, he would have a position as well and not just be a follower. How about call it a Mo sect? Yu Qiying also hoped Yimo would start a sect. Yimo nodded. Luoyu continent was this big. Even if he was all-powerful, he wouldn't be able to take on 8-star or 9-star sects by himself. Right now, he couldn't even take on 4 or 5-star sections. China Pharmaceuticals was a good example. If he wanted to have his own ground in this world, he needed his own power. If he didn't want to be easily annihilated, then forming a sect was the obvious thing. Okay, starting from now, we'll have a new sect. It'll be called Imo sect for now. Yimo hesitated and said again, Imo sect doesn't sound powerful enough. Let's add my Luoyu city to it too. After thinking for a while, Yimo suddenly said, let's call it Imo city. In Yimo's ideal, he didn't just want to form a sect, he wanted to form a city. He didn't want to be like other sects, find a place and rule it out to be theirs and dominate it. He wanted Imo city to be like what Ning Qingxue wanted, a place of peace and freedom. He knew it was too idealistic and it couldn't completely be like that, but he still hoped it would. He didn't want the people of Imo city to have cultivation as the only thing in their lives. He wanted them to have their own life and pursuit. The city of Imo, good name. Li Jingwen and Yu Qiying applauded. Although they didn't know what was good about it, it sounded good. Just like that, Imo city was formed. But they didn't even have their own land. Yimo didn't take the two as his disciples, but they could receive knowledge from Yimo. In the remaining days, Yimo visited Su Jingwen a few times. She was focused in cultivation every day, so Yimo didn't interrupt her. He found a room and started studying the Heaven Glory Pill, or cultivating the Purple Eye Soul Sever and 5-element mobility. Days flew by like this. Half a month later, Yu Qiying reached Foundation Establishment State Level 4 from Level 3. Even Li Jingwen reached Golden Core State Level 8. Although Yimo used the most spirit crystals and pills, he was still stuck in Golden Core State Level 2. Another half a month later, Li Jingwen told him that they would be nearing Pei Hai City in 2 days. Yimo stopped cultivation and went to visit Su Jingwen. When he saw Su Jingwen, he almost couldn't believe his eyes. In a mere month, she had reached Qi Gathering Level 5. Your Qi Gathering Level 5? Yimo subconsciously asked. Once the hidden spirit root was acidivated, its speed was this terrifying. Su Jingwen smiled sweetly and nodded. I feel that my speed of spirit qi intake was just a little faster, but my progress in cultivation is many times faster. I'm going to take a shower and go have a look with you at the head of the ship. Yimo shook his head. It was clear that Su Jingwen's cultivation speed would be surpassing his in the future. He needed to hurry up and study the Heaven Glory Pill. Otherwise, by the time Su Jingwen was about to form a soul, she wouldn't be able to. That wasn't really awkward, but if he was weak, he wouldn't be able to face the enemies he needed to face. Even if he got to Pei Hai City, they would eventually be able to find their way there. What made Yimo feel comfortable was that Su Jingwen could cultivate the cultivation method he gave her. Su Jingwen walked up to Yimo with a refreshing feel. Her mood had changed greatly since all these things happened. Is there something on your mind? Su Jingwen was very meticulous, and although Yimo didn't say anything, Su Jingwen still caught on to his mood. Yimo sighed and pulled on her hand, bringing her along to the head of the ship. It's nothing really. A person who had ill intentions gave me a pill. The pill is very good, but I don't dare to use it, so I tried to dissect it instead. I've used up more than half of it, but I still can't find the last main ingredient. The Heaven Glory Pill had 5 main ingredients. The supplementary ingredients were very easy to find, but Yimo only found 4 of the main ingredients. Smoke Shilon, Yellow 3-leaf, Red Light Fruit, all of which Yimo had, and the Water Magic Artifact Weed which he didn't. But Yimo wasn't too worried as he was sure he could find it. However, without the last ingredient, he wouldn't be able to concoct the Heaven Glory Pill. Hearing this, Su Jingwen laughed and said, You don't dare to eat the pill because you don't know if something is wrong with it? Yimo nodded. Yes, I'm sure that person wouldn't be that kind-hearted. Yimo still felt threatened by that voice in the hexagonal hall. Su Jingwen squeezed Yimo's hand and smiled. Then was there anything wrong with the herbs you separated? No, Yimo said without hesitation. Then that's it. The herb you couldn't find is probably the one that person wanted to use to harm you. You can ignore it, Su Jingwen explained. Although she wasn't as good as Yimo in other areas, she was good in business and often dealt with schemes and business deals. Yimo suddenly felt enlightened. Why couldn't he think of that? In that case, if the recipe had nothing to do with the last herb, he had already found the recipe. He was 50% sure he could concoct the pill, but he needed to find the water magic artifact weed. If he could concoct it, it meant he would reach Golden Core State peak stage in a short time. Yimo hugged Su Jingwen in excitement. Thank you, Jingwen, you're really smart. Su Jingwen blushed and looked at Li Jingwen and Yu Qiang and quickly broke free. There are still people on the side. Yimo laughed, and his mood turned good. He pointed at the two and said, Jingwen, we have our own sect now. It's called Imoyu City, and they're the first bunch. Su Jingwen repeated in joy, Imoyu City, such a beautiful name. I imagine that the city will also be very beautiful. 2 days later, Yimo put away the flying cloud boat and the four entered Peihai City. The streets were very busy and pretty much everyone here were cultivators. They all had the faint smell of the sea on them. There were spirit scents and anti-flight restrictions here. He could easily see Golden Core State and nascent Soul State cultivators on the streets. As for Qi Gathering and Foundation Establishment State, they were everywhere. There were even a few hollow spirit state cultivators passing by occasionally. Clearly, this was a big cultivation city. Where do we go now? Are Yangzhu and Yiling really here? Su Jingwen asked worriedly. She wanted to find a place to settle down. She had been running around too much these past years. Yimo shook his head. I'm not sure, but it was indeed Yangzhu who left behind the jade card. They should have been here a long time ago. Let's go to some pill towers and see. They might have opened another one here. Yimo thought that if they were to stay, they needed a way to earn money. He left behind large sums of pills before he left. The most likely thing for them to do was to open a pill tower. Chapter 976, Ning Hai Pill Store. Chapter 976, Ning Hai Pill Store. Yimo and his group were looking for Song Yangzhu and the others as well as the waterweed at pill towers. What surprised Yimo was that a lot of people knew about the waterweed, meaning that it wasn't something very rare. However, Yimo was disappointed to find that there weren't a lot being sold. It wasn't that it was too precious, but because this herb was too low valued. Also, it was very dangerous to pick this herb. Waterweeds usually grew on the distant islands in the distant sea. Most of the time, they were protected by level 5 or even level 6 beasts. Many marine beasts like to eat waterweeds. So, one had to kill the guarding beasts first before collecting the mere level 4 waterweed. On top of that, the waterweed could only be made into the water algae pill. Its use was for water element cultivator to cultivate. However, its effects were far weaker than the clear essence pill and worse than even benefit essence pill. It was because of this that no one was willing to go into dangerous waters to collect it. Even if someone went out into the distant sea, it wasn't for collecting the waterweed, but for beast cores or other herbs. Yimo heard this news and had decided to search around in Peihai City. If he couldn't find Song Yangzhu in them, he would open a pill shop here first. Yimo, Ning Hai Pills. Su Jingwen suddenly pointed at a corner and said in joy. Yimo immediately looked over and saw Song Yangzhu and Zhen Shaoshan. Without a thought, he pulled Su Jingwen and the others over. At the same time, his heart felt easy. Clearly they were fine. Return the pill? Do you know how much trouble this pill caused me? Do you think that's enough? The two Golden Core State cultivators looked coldly at Song Yangzhu and Zhen Shaoshan with ridicule in their eyes. Yimo looked at Song Yangzhu and the others and knew that this wasn't the first time they had encountered this situation. But Yimo knew that they weren't living too well in Peihai. How come Li Yuqian didn't come out? Why did Song Yangzhu and Zhenek Xiashan have to deal with this? Song Yangzhu was only Foundation Establishment State Level 2, and Zhen Shaoshan clearly fell below Golden Core State, and was only Foundation Establishment State Level 8. Yangzhu. I'm back. What's going on? Yimo walked into the small pill shop and asked. Song Yangzhu was dazed when she saw Yimo. Joy flashed across her eyes as she ran into her husband's arms crying. Hee, perfect. Peihai City isn't a place where you can be over-domineering, one of the two golden core state cultivators said coldly. Yimo patted her back and said, Don't worry, I'm back. Jingwen is here too. Jingwen. Song Yangzhu just saw Su Jingwen and quickly came to say hello. Su Jingwen saw Song Yangzhu's distressed face and clearly felt she was living better than her. Seeing the two catching up, that golden core state walked to a closet and smashed it, saying coldly, Do you not want to give me a resolution? You want to act dead? Li Jingwen was already furious, but he could only stay behind Yimo since Yimo hadn't said anything. Yimo patted Song Yangzhu's hand and asked, Yangzhu, what happened? Tell me about it. Song Yangzhu felt even more wronged hearing this. Jin Shaoshan saw this and quickly said, These people bought our pills and changed them to bad ones, saying that the pills we're selling are problematic. So they come up asking for compensation. This isn't the first time. A few times before, we just compensated them, but they're getting more and more ridiculous. Little girl, watch your words. Since when did we use fake pills to trick you? If your shop is selling real pills, would you compensate us before? The golden core state cultivator pointed his fingers and cursed. Jin Shaoshan took a few steps back in fear. Yimo got up and said, Show me the pills you bought. The golden core state heard this and sneered in contempt. A mere golden core state level 2, other than accepting his fate, what else could he do? He had a golden core state level 8 behind him, but this was their land. He was golden core state level 5, and his friend was golden core state level 7. They wouldn't dare to do anything. The golden core state threw out a benefit essence pill into Yimo's hand and said coldly, This is the benefit essence pill. Yimo took this and knew immediately that it wasn't made by him. This was a waste pill. Yimo crushed it and threw it on the ground, saying coldly, I'm curious. What does a golden core state cultivator need to buy a Foundation Establishment State pill for? Even if you crush the pill, you still need to compensate me. Do I need you to boss me about why I bought the benefit essence pill? I like to eat it. Is there a problem? The golden core state said. Yimo nodded and said plainly, That's fine. Before he could react, Yimo suddenly punched out. The golden core state level 5 was instantly bound by the cultivation essence of this fist. This fist was derived from the illusion cloud essence binding strike. Yimo kicked on his dantian. He spat blood, and his dantian was crushed by Yimo's kick. That golden core state level 7 just reacted and looked sluggishly at Yimo. He turned around and was about to leave. You still want to go? Without Yimo's need to order, Li Jingwen blocked the door with his universal ruler. How dare you fucking destroy my dantian? The golden core state level 5 was full of fear. Yimo sneered and walked up, slapping him in the face many times until his mouth was completely broken. Then he waved his hand and the powder of the pill he had crushed fell in this golden core state level 5's mouth. Yimo then kicked him to the door and said coldly, Since you like eating benefit essence pill, don't waste it. Yimo didn't kill this golden core state cultivator. Now, this golden core state finally realized his predicament. He was full of fear. Even if he left now, someone with a destroyed dantian and golden core wouldn't be able to survive in this city. Qin Bei, this has nothing to do with me. The golden core state level 7 cultivator turned around and said in horror. He didn't think that Yimo would be this cocky, daring to do such a thing to a golden core state cultivator in Peihai. Clearly Yimo was already golden core state peak stage. He wouldn't be a match for this guy no matter what. Thinking about this, he started to regret ever coming. He had also heard that Ning Hai pills were easy to abuse. If you went up to scam them, you would get benefits. Oh, it's not related to you. Why are you here then? Why did you bring the essence benefit pill? Yimo's tone was cold. Qin Bei, Qin. He wasn't even able to say a complete sentence. He had endured so much to get to golden core state tertiary stage. There were many times he had almost died, and now he was going to be completely destroyed. You want me to let you go? Yemo asked coldly. The Golden Core State Level 7 quickly nodded. Yes, yes, please Qianbei. Yemo said calmly. That's fine, but if I let everyone go, then how can I run my business? I can let you go. Yemo said this, and the Golden Core State Level 7 felt as if he had heard heavenly music and wanted to kneel. But Yemo's tone changed. But you have two choices. First is to destroy your own Dantian and Golden Core and piss off. The Golden Core State dazed. This was no different than killing him. He quickly asked for the second option. Yemo knew this would happen, and he said, the second way is very simple. Other people have come to scam my store. If you let me plant a restriction in you, you can go bring over all the people who scammed my store. If I'm sure you didn't miss anyone, I can let you go. Chapter 977. Sister Li's Injury. Chapter 977. Sister Li's Injury. The Golden Core State Level 7 was dazed. This was hard to do as well. Yemo sneered. Since you don't want the trouble, then I'll do it myself. No, I'll choose the second choice. This Golden Core State Level 7 immediately said. The second choice was hard, but there was still a sliver of hope. This first choice was death. If someone could help him break the restriction, he could run away. He wouldn't need to stay and pay high. Yemo smiled and quickly planted a restriction on this Golden Core State Level 7. Then, he said casually, other than me, no one else can break the restriction. If you try to force it, you will have chosen the first choice. Hearing this, the cultivator's heart went cold. His last sliver of hope was gone. However, the worst news came when Yemo said, of course, I don't care about time, but in 1 month the restriction will activate. Decide for yourself, piss off. Seeing this, the Golden Core State Level 7 stumbled out of the store. The cultivators watching outside shivered. This high pill store was the most honest pill store, and many wanted to scam them, but none expected the terrifying existence of the store owner. This made many cultivators who planned on scamming the store as well break out in a cold sweat. Yemo looked at the moaning Golden Core State Level 5 cultivator and said to Li Jingguin, bring this person to the City Management Council and report what Ning High Pills has suffered.
Yes.
Li Jingguin immediately took that dead dog of a Golden Core State Level 5 and disappeared. Everyone looked on in fear. Not only did they break someone, but they were suing them as well. Yemo wasn't going to kill as soon as he came here, of course. Even though he destroyed this man's cultivation core, he still needed to notify city management. After all, this city didn't belong to him. He was living here too. This was showing his attitude to Pei High City. He believed the city manager wouldn't do anything to him due to this. Plus, Yemo felt a hidden spirit sense scan over when he broke the Golden Core State Level 5. He didn't know who that was, but after that spirit sense scanned over, no one came. Yemo immediately knew it was some significant figure of the city. Interesting, this is quite a character. In a luxurious place, a middle-aged man took back his spirit sense and murmured, who did Brother Ziyu say is a character? An old man smiled and asked. The middle-aged man laughed. A very interesting Golden Core State cultivator came to Pei High City. He's a Golden Core State Primary Stage 2. Not bad. The old man laughed. He's clearly really good for you to be able to say not bad. The middle-aged man nodded. Yes, he's only Golden Core State Level 5, but he can instantly kill Golden Core State Level 5s, and he deals with things in a very experienced way. Interesting. After all the people outside the shop had left, Yemo came up to Song Yangzhu and asked what happened at River State. Where was Li Yuqian? How come he didn't see her? After hearing their story, Yemo realized how much had happened in this half-year. When they were at River State, China Pharmaceuticals had been broken in by Lu Juqing, who had reached nascent soul state, and the other manager of Immortal Treasure Tower. Li Yuqian couldn't take on 2 nascent soul state fighters. In addition, there weren't just nascent soul states there at China Pharmaceuticals, there were many Golden Core State as well. Due to the desperate situation, Jin Shaoshan ate the burst soul pill and would have exploded if she didn't have the stalagmite benefit pill. Even so, her power fell to Foundation Establishment State Level 4. She only reached foundation establishment state level 8 again after more hard work and pills. Meanwhile, Liu Qian was heavily injured on the spot. Even so, she still brought people with her and left through the escape teleportation formation Yimo left behind. After putting up wards, Liu Qian's nascent soul was depleted and unable to gather cultivation essence. How's Yiling? Yimo was also worried about her. Yiling was also hurt at the time, but she wasn't completely affected during the battle. She has recovered now and is taking care of Master inside, Song Yangzhu said worriedly. No wonder those golden core state dared to come here. Liu Qian was still injured. Thinking about this, Yimo got up and said, I'll go have a look at Sister Li clean her up. Ninghai will stop operation for now. We need to open a bigger pill shop. There was spirit sense shielding formation outside Liu Qian's room. Yimo went in the room and saw Liu Qian sitting on a seat, recovering while Yiling was carefully organizing some herbs on the side. When Yimo came in, he felt a sense of cold, as though it originated from Liu Qian's body. Yiling's power level was too weak and she couldn't feel it. Brother. Yiling saw Yimo come and immediately charged over in joy and started crying. As long as Yimo came back, her heart felt settled and those things didn't seem to matter. Yimo, you're back. Liu Qian also woke up and seemed a little easier, but she was immediately shaken. You're already in golden core state? Song Yangzhu and the others couldn't see Yimo's power level, but Liu Qian immediately saw that Yimo was golden core state level 2. Huh, brother. You're already golden core state? Yiling grabbed Yimo's hands in excitement. Brother was golden core state, meaning that those scamming Ninghai pills wouldn't dare to come again. There was a sound barrier and spirit sense barrier formation up, so Yiling didn't know what had just happened outside. Yimo nodded. Yes, I'm already golden core state. Yimo thought that if he found the water weed, then nascent soul state wouldn't be far from him too. He then looked at Yiling and said, Sister, Jingwen is here too, go say hi. Huh, Sister Jingwen is here too? Yiling rejoiced but then rolled her eyes. Brother, you're going to have one extra wife, right? Yimo blushed and said, This is the last time for sure. Uft, do you think I will believe you? For Yangzhu, you also said it was last time. But then, there was Xiaoyun. Yiling felt she had spoken a little too much and quickly changed the subject. Okay, I'll go see Sister Jingwen. You must treat Master. Seeing her go out, Yimo could finally breathe easy. He really didn't know how to tell Luoying and Ning Qingxue about Jingwen and Xiaoyun. For Yangzhu, it was actually easier. Sister Li, what happened to you? How come you still haven't recovered? Yimo asked worriedly. Liu Qian smiled and said, I just injured my foundation. It's actually no big deal. I just need to rest for another month or two and I will recover. Yimo asked suddenly, Sister Li, did your nascent soul get frozen by something? Liu Qian looked at Yimo in shock. You can feel the frigidness from my body? You're only golden core state level 2. Yimo smiled. That's because I have a special sense when it comes to coldness and flame. Should I have a look for you? Liu Qian was a bit embarrassed. Although Yimo wasn't that much younger than her, she was Yiling's master. If Yimo helped her check, he would need to use his cultivation essence to run through her meridians. Yimo knew her hesitation. Okay, have a look. Liu Qian reached out her wrist. A cultivator was pursuing the great Tao of the heaven and earth. Why should she care so much about such little things? Yimo nodded and didn't think anything of it. Yimo sent his cultivation essence into her dantian carefully and saw that her nascent soul was indeed bound by a layer of frost. Such a powerful cultivation method, Yimo sighed. This was a completely different level than his winter's arrival. Sister Li, help me later. I will suck away the frost from your nascent soul. Before she could say anything, Yimo started using winter's arrival to suck. Liu Qian was shook. This was Lu Jiuqing's ultimate move. Even another nascent soul state cultivator wouldn't dare to do this. Yimo was a mere golden core state primary stage. This was suicide. Just when she was about to stop Yimo already started siphoning. Liu Qian sighed and could only cooperate. But Liu Qian soon found that layer of frost was really being sucked away, and Yimo was still fine. Was he an ice spirit root? This was impossible. There was no such thing as an ice spirit root pill master. Yemo felt good. His winter's arrival's power had stagnated, and now after absorbing so much frost chi, it immediately grew. Chapter 978. Standing Ground in Pei Hai. Chapter 978. Standing ground in Pei Hai. After 15 minutes, Li Yuqian's pale face became ruddier. She could feel that her nascent soul was breaking free. As the frost was being sucked away, that long-forgotten sense of freedom surged forth. Li Yuqian looked at Yemo in surprise and joy. Yemo surprised her too much. The injury that had troubled her for half a year was completely gone. Although the frost wasn't as strong as it had been in the beginning, it was still crazy that Yemo could suck it away with only his golden core state level 2 power. His cultivation essence was probably the same as a normal golden core state level 7 or level 8. Li Yuqian sighed to herself. When Yemo's hand moved away from her wrist, she had recovered about 80% of her power. She got up immediately and circulated her cultivation essence. She then said with gratitude, "Yemo, thank you. You surprise me so much. There seems to be no problem you can't solve." Yemo was also very happy. He bowed to Li Yuqian and said, "Sister Li, the person that I need to thank is you. If it wasn't for you, Yangzhu and them rest wouldn't be here. Thank you." Yemo knew very well that if Li Yuqian wanted to run away herself, even 2 nascent soul state cultivators wouldn't be able to stop her. The reason she got injured was because of Song Yangzhu and Yiling. Then, Yemo gave her 2 bottles. "Sister Li, you just recovered. You need these pills, life essence pills?" Li Yuqian took the bottles and asked in shock. Even Hollow Spirit State Cultivator could use life essence pills. One could imagine its value. Yet Yemo was willing to give her them, and 2 bottles in one go. When Yemo and Li Yuqian came out, Li Jingwen was already back. Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong were also back. When Su Yu saw Su Jingwen, the two released their sad emotions. Both didn't expect to meet again in this vast Luoyu continent. This room of people squeezed together felt the joy of reunion. What did the manager of Peihai City say? Yi Mo asked Li Jingwen. Li Jingwen replied, "The manager Wang said we did really well. They wouldn't ever let such people go." Yiling said in contempt, "Bullshit. When our store was scammed again and again, how come no one did anything?" Yiling's words made everyone speechless. So what if they got scammed? If Yemo didn't come back, no one would care even if they were scammed 100 times. This place was the survival of the fittest. The city lord had the same attitude. The stronger the people who lived here, the happier he was. Seeing the gloomy atmosphere, Yemo smiled and broke the sullenness. With Sisterly here, I don't think those little punks would do such things again from now on. Shang Yizhong and Su Yu prepare for foundation establishment state. Sister Jin needs to reform her core. We will only avoid abuse if we grow stronger and stronger. Let's find a place to settle first. This store is too small. Hearing this, everyone deeply agreed. In this world run by the law of the jungle, there was no reasoning. Your fist was the reason. Li Jingwen got up and said, "Sect leader, that manager Wang just said that Treasure Tower is open and asked if we wanted to rent it. Why did he suddenly ask this?" Su Jingwen asked. Yemo smiled. "Clearly, they're testing our power. One reason is that we have more people now and we need to change places. The second is to test how much power we have. If we rent it, then it means we're worth their attention. If we don't even have that much power, then we're not worth their attention. But we don't know how big Treasure Tower and where it is." Sheng Yizhong suddenly said, "I know it. When we came, that place was already wasted. It's near the city border. There have been a few beast tides, and each time the buildings near the city walls are damaged first. Plus, although that place is cheaper than other places, it's not cheap for ordinary people. It's not small, but no one wants to rent it. Yes, I heard that the last owner was nascent soul state tertiary stage power but never came back after going out to the sea. So, it's been empty up until now. The land is more than 100,000 square meters, Su Yu said. 100,000 square meters of land was not small. Yemo nodded and asked Li Jingwen, "How many spirit stones did that manager Wang say it costs?" Li Jingwen shook his head. He said about 200k to 300k top-grade spirit stones a year. That expensive? Yiling opened her mouth wide. Yimo fell silent. There's no need to rent it, tell him. If it's within 3 million, then we're willing to buy it. After we buy it, we'll change its name to MOU. This place will be the starting ground of our MOU city. Yimo had about 6 million top-grade spirit stones. He was going to be using this place for the long term, so instead of renting, he might as well buy it. What? You're going to buy Treasure Tower? The manager was scared by Li Jingwen. Even a hollow spirit state cultivator would have trouble taking out a few million spirit stones. Li Jingwen replied calmly, Yes, Manager Wang. Our sect leader is interested in this place, but we're planning to stay long-term. Instead of renting, we might as well buy it. Of course, if you're not willing to sell it, then never mind. Sell, of course I'll sell it, but the sale price is at least 30 times the price of 1 year's rent. Are you able to afford it? Even if I give you a discount, the yearly rent would be 200k top-grade spirit stones, and so the sale price would be 6 million sale price. Li Jingwen was shaken. Yimo only gave him 3 million, but these guys immediately asked for 6 million. Seeing Li Jingwen's hesitation, Manager Wang didn't rush him, but he was beginning to have some interest in the mysterious boss behind Li Jingwen. Li Jingwen thought for a while and saluted with his fists. I'm really sorry, Manager Wang. The price our boss gave is 5 million spirit stones. This price is too far from what we expected. Manager Wang shook his head, too. 5 million isn't even half the price. It seems we won't be able to conduct this transaction. Then that's really unfortunate. Li Jingwen got up and was ready to leave. Wait a moment. Manager Wang stopped Li Jingwen and quickly left. Li Jingwen was in no rush. He knew that Yimo didn't have to buy this place, but he just didn't have the time to look for it. In a while, Manager Wang came back and said apologetically to Li Jingwen, I just asked, if you really want to buy it, the lowest price is 5 million. Any lower than that? 3 million. Li Jingwen interrupted. If you can sell for 3 million, I will leave the spirit stones immediately and sign the contract. Okay, great, 3 million it is. I, Wang Di, will make this friend, Manager Wang said without hesitation. Li Jingwen opened his mouth and felt bitter. He knew that he had lost big today. He also realized that in terms of business, two of him were no match for Manager Wang. Seeing this, Manager Wang felt happy. He would have agreed if that place could be sold for 2 million, but now he had sold it for 3 million. He didn't expect this at all. If there was a place of similar size in the center of the city, then it would be worth at least 10 million, but Treasure Tower was really not worth such a sum of money. Despite this, Li Jingwen could only sign the contract. He thought that if Yimo didn't give him only 3 million but 4 million instead, he would have lost it all too. Yimo heard Li Jingwen's guilty report and laughed. He patted Li Jingwen's shoulder and said, You fall over. You learn something. Things like this won't happen in the future. Sometimes, losing is winning. I'll hand the development of MOU over for you to oversee. Later, find people to build MOU based on my blueprint. Yimo knew Li Jingwen was going to lose money, but he still sent him there, as he and Yu Qiang would be responsible for most of the negotiations of MOU City in the future. He needed to prepare them. Chapter 979. Going Out to the Sea. Chapter 979. Going Out to the Sea. A month later, MOU appeared in Peihai City. MOU wasn't the biggest merchant association, but it was the most grandiose merchant association. Not only did it have layers of defense formations, but all of its buildings were made from the blue rock found at the bottom of the ocean. From a distance, it looked like the ocean. This time, Yimo didn't cut costs. He set up multiple defense and attack formations. With his formation master skills and the splurging of spirit stones, the attack formations were already level 4. Even if nascent soul state cultivators were trapped inside, they wouldn't be able to leave easily. If there was a nascent soul state cultivator manning the formation, then even if cultivators above the nascent soul state attacked MOU, they would die. The reason China Pharmaceuticals was broken into and Li Yuqian was heavily injured was because Yimo's power was limited and he couldn't set up high-level attack formations. To Yemo, the best defense was a good offense. MOU rose up with dominance in Pei Hai, but most of the people came from Ning Hai pills. However, many people knew that those who scammed them before were all found out by a golden core state level 7 cultivator and had their dantians destroyed. After the higher-ups of Pei Hai City remained silent about this, no one dared to look for trouble at MOU. Even without that, no one would dare to go start trouble at MOU just from how they rose up in a dominating fashion. MOU's main products were formation discs and pills. At the same time, they bought all sorts of materials including beast cores. All those who went to MOU were shocked to find that although their prices were similar to other places, they had a lot of top-grade and mostly special-grade pills. The main thing was that they even had some single stocks of condensed red pills for golden core state cultivators. As this news spread, MOU soon became famous in Pei Hai. The distant place MOU was at also became more and more populous. As for the formation discs, rarely any other shops in Pei Hai sold them. Yemo was teaching Yu Qiang how to make formation discs while teaching Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong pill concoction. As for the management of MOU, he handed it completely over to Li Jingwen. Although he was very occupied now, once Shen Shaoshan reached golden core state again, he would be able to have an easier time. Su Jingwen, Yiling, and Song Yangzhu were weaker, so other than helping out at the shop sometimes, they spent most of their time cultivating. A month later, MOU was completely on the right track, and now Shen Shaoshan had reached golden core state again. Although she was very excited, Yemo thought it was nothing much. He was supplying with her so much pills and her talent wasn't that bad. However, Su Jingwen reached golden core state level 9 in less than 3 years. Yemo gasped at her cultivation speed and was prepared to go out and find the waterweed. He needed huge amounts of cultivation resources. Ordinary spirit gathering formations weren't enough for him at all. MOU opened up and Yemo spent all the spirit stones he had. Plus, he invited 2 level 6 spirit pill masters to stay at MOU. Yemo needed to go out into the sea, and he didn't have time for pill concoction. Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong had just started learning, so they wouldn't be able to concoct any for sales. 3 months later, Yemo set up another teleportation formation and gave the middle-grade spirit artifact flying ship to Li Yuqian before leaving Pei Hai City. Ever since the incident at River State, Yemo didn't feel safe anywhere. There must be a teleportation formation. This time, Yemo's formation skills greatly increased, so he set the other side of the teleportation formation to somewhere 200,000 kilometers away. Pei Hai was next to the Heartless Sea. Each day, countless cultivators went from the city to the Heartless Sea. These cultivators all formed groups to hunt beasts or collect spirit herbs and ores. Low-level cultivators stayed around the border of the Heartless Sea, but if you wanted to find higher-grade spirit herbs and beasts, you had to go further into the sea. There were 2 ways of going out. One was to have your own spirit artifact flying boat or a flying magic artifact. Another was going through the teleportation formation to reach Peiqi Island and then leave from there. This island was only about 100,000 kilometers from the city. The teleportation formation was set here as it was surrounded by dangerous waters, and there were many businesses here. Those who went out hunting would replenish their supplies here and sell what they found. On top of that, the island would be able to send news back immediately if there was a beast wave. Yemo had his own flying boat, so he didn't go to the island. He was going to an island called Duo Horn Island that was 100,000 kilometers from the Peiqi Island. Yemo heard that there was the most waterweed here. Yemo got on his flying boat and headed there according to the map. Unlike everyone else, Yemo didn't have a companion. Yemo felt it was easier to go out by himself. After all, he had the Golden Page world and could run away easily. The moment Yemo got to the island, there was a shocking news from Pei Hai City that instantly spread across the entire North Far State. South Peace State, North Far State, and East Black State were going to establish intercontinental teleportation formations. Multiple truth realization states with 30 disaster transformation states and cauldron filling states would come to try to and establish the teleportation formation in a year's time. No one knew why these 3 states suddenly wanted to build a teleportation formation, but many of the cultivators at the bottom finally realized that there wasn't just a single state on Luoyu continent. More shockingly, the site of the teleportation formation was chosen to be Pei Hai City. The person who regretted life the most now was Manager Wang. No one would have thought the site of the teleportation formation would be Pei Hai City. Due to this, the land price of Pei Hai City soared up more than 10 times. The land he sold for 3 million was worth more than 30 million now. However, Li Jingwen couldn't stop smiling. If he sold MOU out now, he would be earning tens of millions of spirit stones. However, the sect leader had left and he couldn't share this joy. He greatly respected Yi Mo's words now. Losing is winning. It seems he won more than he could ever imagine now. Manager Wang wasn't happy, but he knew very well that MOU seemed large, but only had one nascent soul state cultivator. Just when he wanted to think of a way to take it back, he heard that a disaster transformation state formation master went to MOU. This made Wang Di's heart skip. If that disaster transformation state master was related to MOU, and he offended them, he wouldn't even know how he would die. It was Li Yuqian who came to greet the master. Qian Bei. Li Yuqian was also uneasy facing a cultivator many states above her. However, that cultivator didn't have much of an attitude. He smiled and waved his hand. Don't be anxious. I see that the defense and attack formations here are very good. I wanted to ask who set it up. If possible, I want to see him. Yi Mo's formation had deviated from the traditional formation basics. He had his own system, and so when this disaster transformation state saw this unique defense formation, he immediately wanted to see who set it up. Li Yuqian said worriedly, Qian Bei, the formation is set up by our sect leader. He went out to the sea a few days ago. Qian Bei can see him when he comes back. Oh, okay. The disaster transformation state cultivator was a little disappointed. He took out a jade card and said to Li Yuqian, in that case, when he comes back, tell him to take the jade card to the center of the formation side of the city to find me. I'm Jilin. At the same time, Yi Mo had encountered some trouble at Duo Horn Island. Chapter 980. Reject Invitation. Chapter 980. Reject Invitation. Yi Mo stopped his flying boat because he was blocked by a battleship-like magic artifact. It was huge, and it seemed like a moving continent from afar. It was a much higher level than Yi Mo's flying boat. It was a low-grade cultivation artifact. In fact, this big ship had been parked here before and 2 golden core state cultivators got off and stopped Yi Mo's flying boat. They looked the ship with greedy eyes. Yi Mo didn't do anything. The person who could control such a huge cultivation artifact would be no ordinary person. Even if he could beat the 2 golden core state, he couldn't do anything. The low-grade cultivation artifact had offensive and defensive capabilities. It was very easy for them to catch up to his ship even though it was huge. Plus, Yi Mo guessed that there were about 100 golden core state cultivators on board and about 2 in the nascent soul state. Yi Mo had no hopes of running away from such power. The downside of this ship was that it was so big that ordinary storage rings wouldn't be able to store it. Some wouldn't even be able to shrink. It was normal for some nascent soul state cultivators to have cultivation artifacts, but such massive flying artifacts were really not common. Yi Mo believed this probably belonged to some sort of power. Golden Core State Level 2 Cultivator. The 2 Golden Core State came up to Yi Mo and smiled. Clearly, Yi Mo's power meant nothing to them. The greed in their eyes grew. A mere Golden Core State Level 2 dared to fly out with such a top-grade spirit artifact. This was no different than suicide. Where are you going? Seeing that Yi Mo didn't reply, that Golden Core State Level 7 suddenly asked coldly. Yi Mo stood up and replied calmly, Does everyone who goes out to the Heartless Sea need to report to you? The Golden Core State Level 9 was shocked. He didn't expect Yi Mo to dare to talk back like this. But clearly, the 2 didn't dare to overtly attack Yi Mo. The Golden Core State Level 7 felt unhappy that Yi Mo had no respect for him. Of course it has nothing to do with us and you don't need to report to us, but you can't take this path. You have to go around if you want to go to the Heartless Sea. Our Ao Chung Merchant Association will be using this path for these few days. Even if you want to leave from here, you have to wait till our ship has left. Yi Mo fell silent. The island he wanted to reach was not far ahead. If he had to go around, he would still need to come back here. Who knew how long this boat would be parked here for? You want to go to Duo Horn Island, right? Although I don't know why you want to go there. You can't go there as well, the Golden Core State Level 9 said. EMO didn't hide it and said, "That's right. I want to go there to collect some waterweed." Waterweeds were worthless to Golden Core State cultivators. The two Golden Core State were dazed and laughed. The Golden Core State Level 7 laughed again. "If you want to go look for something else, I can't say for sure, but I can tell you that there certainly won't be any waterweed. You won't even be able to catch a whiff of it. Even in the area with the radius of a few 100,000 kilometers, you won't find any waterweed." "Why?" Guillermo blurted out. Waterweed was very important to him. Without it, how could he concoct the Heaven Glory pill? How could he reach nascent soul state? The disappointment on Yemo's face was obvious. The two could easily tell that the waterweed was important to Yemo. The Golden Core State Level 7 used this opportunity and pointed at the big boat not far away and said, "If you want waterweed, it's not impossible. That's the ship our Ao Chan Merchant Association uses to go into deep waters. You can take our boat over. Otherwise, even if your spirit artifact is top grade, it would be suicide to go into deep waters." Yemo frowned and that cultivator continued, "If you want waterweed, you need to follow our ship into the deep sea. I'm not lying. If you don't believe me, you can ask other people on board." "Then why are you guys stopped here?" Yemo asked. The Golden Core State Level 7 smiled. "It's fine if I tell you, our Elder How is about to reach nascent soul state tertiary stage, so we need to stop here and wait for the Elder to ascend. It's your luck that you met us. Our ship has nascent soul state Chien Bay. There basically won't be any danger. But every cultivator on our boat needs to pay some price." Yemo sneered. He had his flying boat, and they wanted him to go on their boat and give his boat away. These two were crazy. Yemo guessed that even though they desired his boat, they wouldn't dare to steal it in front of all the other cultivators. Many of the cultivators on board had probably been lured on like this. The Golden Core State Level 9 intervened. "Although you have this top-grade flying spirit artifact, it's easy to get here, but it would be very hard for you to go back alone later. I'll tell you the truth. There's a level 7 beast here, and he went crazy. He took his lower-level minions and cleared all the spirit herbs around here. This includes the waterweed. Many solo cultivators were also killed. Our Merchant Association's Hollow Spirit State Elder battled that level 7 beast and both got injured. The level 7 beast retreated, and the lower-level minions also retreated. However, the herbs they collected weren't taken away. They're still on an island. But other than the herbs, there are many beasts below level 6 on it. So many cultivators formed a small squad and hired our ship. Our Merchant Association sent out 2 nascent soul state elders to support this project. So it's indeed due to luck that you can get on it." Then, he scanned Yemo's flying boat hoping that Yemo would go on now. As long as he went on, Yemo's flying boat would belong to them. Yemo didn't object. This cultivator's words were a mix of truth and lies. But one thing was for sure, the herbs nearby were all swooped away. The Golden Core State cultivator was getting a little desperate seeing that Yemo didn't express anything. Just when he wanted to say something, Yemo saluted with his fists. "Thank you too for your goodwill, but I won't go to the Duo Horn Island. I'm going back now." The two wanted to trick Yemo onto the ship and then slowly threaten and trick Yemo into giving away the flying boat. But now, there was nothing they could do. Just when they wanted to say something, the horn on the big ship sounded. It was about to depart. Although they were very unsatisfied, they flew back onto the ship without hesitation. Soon, the ship disappeared. Yemo didn't leave. He was sure that most of what they said was real, but why would the Merchant Association only send 2 nascent soul state cultivators? The store of herbs should attract way more people. Why were there only Golden Core State cultivators forming squads, and only 2 nascent soul state cultivators sent here from the Merchant Association? Yemo stood thinking for a while, and decided to go see the island first. A few hours later, Yemo stood on the island. This place was indeed empty, not a single beast nor spirit herb. Chapter 981. Terrifying Pill. Chapter 981. Terrifying Pill. Yemo wasn't really going to go back. He instead opened the stealth formation of the flying ship and followed carefully. He could only follow in the direction that the ship had disappeared. In the next few days, Yemo didn't find any signs of that ship but saw tins of islands. The islands were all wiped clean like the cultivators had said. Yemo was shaken. Was this really the case? If so, how many beasts were needed to collect the herbs? How many herbs had been collected? There were too many islands in a 100,000-kilometer radius from this point, but all their spirit herbs had been harvested. This was no different than a beast wave. Beast waves usually started without warning and had little organization, but what had just happened before his eyes was much too organized. Thinking about this, Yemo didn't continue following the ship. Regardless if the cultivator's information was true, he didn't have the power to take part in it. He changed the direction of his flying ship. A few days later, Yemo found some more islands along the way, but they were all barren as well. Yemo had decided to go deep into the sea. Although he was already in the deep sea and would face life-threatening danger if he went in any further, he was willing to risk it for the water weed. 7 days later, he found another island. What shook him was that the spirit herbs were still there, and there were still spirit beasts on it. Yemo suddenly felt that the Ao Qian Merchant Association's actions were quite eerie. He didn't bother with that, it had nothing to do with him. Yemo searched this island. They were all low-level spirit herbs. The other islands that were harvested wouldn't have high-level spirit herbs, but all these low-level spirit herb were harvested clean. There definitely was something here. 3 days later, Yemo stopped on an island that was only a few hundred kilometers in circumference. He was very excited. He had finally found one water weed, one that didn't have any spirit beast guarding it. This was in the extremely deep sea. One was not enough for Yemo, but it could let him know if he would be able to concoct the Heaven Glory Pill. Yemo found a safe place on this island and went into the Golden Page world. He was going to concoct the Heaven Glory Pill. Yemo had gathered all of the 4 main ingredients. As Yemo threw a set of spirit herb into the Shan Nan cauldron, he filtered out the impurities with his spirit sense. The pill liquid started to boil and mix. Yemo took this trial very seriously and kept refining the pill liquid repeatedly. Half an hour later, a faint herb aroma was spreading. Yemo rejoiced. He felt Su Jingwen's guess was right. Another 15 minutes later, Yemo kept weaving finishing pill signs. The Heaven Glory Pill was about to form. Yemo held the excitement in his heart and was very careful. But at this crucial moment, he heard an almost indiscernible crack. Yemo had never been in such a bad state since he began his cultivation. He became a man of blood and could only hold onto that sliver of conscience. He knew that if he fell unconscious, he would be turned into ash. This pill was that volatile. But what agonized Yemo the most was that he was sitting on a spirit root. He didn't even need to absorb the spirit chi, and it would go inside itself. This was like a firefighter fighting fire with oil. At this moment, Yemo finally understood how powerful his 3-birth chant was. His meridians were cracking, but his golden core was getting bigger and bigger, and his meridians were also healing at the same time too. Yemo didn't know how long it has been, but when there was no more pain in his body, that explosive spirit power rapidly turned into cultivation essence. Yemo could clearly feel his power increase dramatically. If Yemo was in Golden Core State Level 2, he might be interested in fighting with it, but now, he really wasn't interested in this Level 5 middle stage crocodile. Yemo hacked with Zisu and wanted to test his incomplete illusion cloud 5th strike. The purple ray clashed with the dark ray of the crocodile. As the sound disappeared, Yemo was disappointed to find that his strike didn't do anything at all. The sword formation didn't activate. The only use was that it blocked the crocodile's attack. Yemo was disappointed, but so was the crocodile. It saw that its first move was blocked by a cultivator at a lower than it. It was furious and swept its huge body at Yemo. Clearly, He was waiting for Yemo to come down so it could attack again. Yemo lost the will to keep fighting, seeing that his fifth strike was incomplete. He just hacked out with Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike. The spirit beast clearly didn't expect that it would be instantly bound. Before it could even feel fear, it had lost a head to Yemo's reverse slice. The crocodile immediately charged towards the ocean. Yemo was just about to stop it when he felt an extreme sense of danger. Without thinking, he quickly kicked the crocodile head into the sea and found a place to hide. He felt 2 cultivation essence waves rapidly approaching. This was the deep sea, and Yemo knew danger was around every corner. Just when Yemo hid himself and massed his chi, the 2 cultivation essence waves arrived above the island. What shook Yemo was that he was familiar with one of the cultivation essence waves. Soon, he remembered it to be one of the people who got off from the low-grade cultivation artifact flying ship. It was a nascent soul state cultivator. But what shook Yemo was that the nascent soul state cultivator was the one running away from a chasing spirit beast. Yemo didn't dare to watch with his spirit sense at all. He focused on camouflaging himself. He suspected that he had already been found. Chihong, why did you go back on your words? Are you not afraid of our merchant association's revenge? That nascent soul state landed on the island knowing that there was no point in running. Yemo could tell that this nascent soul state cultivator was heavily injured. Then, he heard a coarse voice sneer. Keep my words? Bullshit. We agreed on sending 300 golden core state cultivators over, but you wanted to use those golden core state cultivator to start a rebellion. Luckily, I was prepared too, or else you guys would have succeeded. How many times have I told you? Their rebellion has nothing to do with us. I really don't know how they got the news, the nascent soul state cultivator said with annoyance. Very well, the coarse voice said coldly. Since it has nothing to do with you, why didn't you help me when they had the upper hand and instead tried to plunder? Does that have nothing to do with you two? The nascent soul state cultivator was at a loss for words, he said after a while. If we wanted to trick you, we wouldn't do it at this time. Why don't we wait till next time when we send over the nascent soul state cultivator and start the rebellion? Yeah, the spirit beast said in contempt. Luckily, you reminded me. Dealing with you cultivators are like dealing with shrewd schemers. Luckily, we didn't wait till the nascent soul state deal. Yemo was shaken. They were up to no good indeed. The Ao Chung Merchant Association found some golden core states just so they could hand them over to the spirit beast for a deal. It was a pity that those golden core state cultivator had no idea at all. Although he didn't know for what reason that this was eventually exposed, Yemo rejoiced that he didn't listen to those 2 golden core state cultivators. If he did, he might not be able to get out alive. Ao Chung Merchant Association, such a cruel and sinister merchant association. Chihong, it's not the first time we've done deals like this. We did wrong to you this time. I'm willing to give you my storage ring. Please, on account of our many deals, let it go this time. The nascent soul state cultivator said. Let it go? You guys killed a level 6 brother of mine, and you want me to let it go? Keep dreaming, Goo. Die. Then, Yemo heard explosions. From their conversation, Yemo could tell that the nascent soul state cultivator really wanted to do business with the spirit beast, but it probably wasn't his fault that it didn't work out in the end. The spirit beast probably knew this too, but still wanted to kill the nascent soul state cultivator. There must be some other reason. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.